Mr. Chairman, we may start.
All right, thank you.
Wait, I need my court reporter.
Yep,
1 second.
there she is.
Okay, got it. Gotta find you in the squares.
Yeah. All
Thank
right, that's
you.
for attendance purposes. I'm going to ask that all board members please turn on your camera as we call to order this regularly scheduled meeting of the City of Orange Township Planning Board for today, December 18th, 2025, at 7:32 here via the virtual platform. With that, I'll ask that everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all. Madam Secretary, have we met the sunshine law?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. 1 second, please. Sorry. In accordance with Chapter 231, Section 5 of the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act, notice of this remote public meeting of the Planning Board of the City of Orange Township was filed with the municipal clerk of the City of Orange Township, posted on the city's bulletin board designated for that purpose, and on all official city website, as well as mailed to the city official newspaper as provided by ordinance.
Thank you. Can you take attendance, please?
Member Foston,
Present.
Member Anuké. Absent. Member Mobley,
Present.
Member Latour,
Present.
Council Vice President Montague,
Present.
Mayor Warren,
Present.
Vice Chair Jones. She is absent. Chairman Holmes,
Present.
quorum has been met.
Thank you. Is there any correspondence?
There are no correspondence at this time, Mr. Chairman.
All right, so the first order of business will be the reorganization of the board professionals.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. 1 second, please. Mr. Chairman, first resolution, it is the board secretary. And
You muted yourself.
yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, sorry about that. That is the board secretary appointing myself, Alexandra Reyes, as the
So,
board secretary, and this is starting January, becoming effective in January of 2026.
January 2026. And so that's a motion to reappoint Alexandra Reyes as the board secretary.
So moved.
We have a motion from Mayor Warren. Is there a second?
Second, Montague.
We have a second from Councilman Montague. Are there any questions on the motion? Seeing none, Madam Secretary?
Member Foston,
Yes.
Member Mobley,
Yes.
Member Latour,
Yes.
Councilman Vice President Montague,
Yes.
Mayor Warren,
Yes.
Chairman Holmes.
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you, everyone, for the opportunity.
Congratulations and
Congratulations.
welcome.
Congrats.
Next up, we have the reappointment of board attorney. And
Yes,
that's
Mr. Chairman, Prince and
listening.
Wenzel. Yes, I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman. That is for the firm of Friends and Wenzel. And that would be appointing Attorney Joseph Wenzel as our board attorney.
So
And
moved.
Attorney Hawkins is here on behalf of the firm I'm sorry, Mayor. Attorney Hawkins is here on behalf of the firm.
And we have a motion from Mayor Warren. Is there a second?
Second,
We have-
Montague.
Yeah, I think Member Mobley was the first to second. Is that correct?
Yes.
Correct.
Thank you. So we have a motion and a second. Are there any questions on the motion? Seeing none, Madam Secretary.
Member Foston,
Yes.
Member Mobley,
Yes.
Member Latour,
Yes.
Councilman Vice President Montague,
Yes.
Mayor Warren,
Yes.
Chairman Holmes.
Yes,
Motion passes. Congratulations.
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 Next up, Madam Secretary.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Next up, we have the board planner. That is Nisha Wayne. And and that would be for Gerard Hazel. And we have Stephen Martini here on behalf of the firm.
So we have, I'll entertain a motion for,
Motion.
we have a motion from Member Mobley. I'm sorry, who was the
That was
motion from?
Montague.
Councilman Montague, thank you. And is there a second?
Second.
Second.
Second from Mayor Warren. Are there any questions on the motion? Seeing none, Madam Secretary?
Member Foston,
Yes.
Member Mobley,
Yes.
Member Latour,
Yes.
Council Vice President Montague,
Yes.
Mayor Warren,
Yes.
Chairman Holmes.
Yes.
Motion passes. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Nisha Wayne.
Thank you, board.
And-
I will be sure to relay this to Mr. Hazel. Thank
Thank
you
you.
for selecting
Thank you.
us.
Next up, we have engineers, Madam Secretary.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, CP Engineers as the firm and the engineer assigned is Mr. John Cahaly.
All right, so we have, I'll entertain a motion for the board engineer.
Motion.
We have
Second.
a motion from Member Mobley and a second from Mayor Warren. Are there any questions on the motion? Seeing none, Madam Secretary?
Member Foston,
Yes.
Member Mobley,
Yes.
Member Latour,
Yes.
Councilman Vice President Montague,
Yes.
Mayor Warren,
Yes.
Chairman Holmes.
Yes.
Motion passes. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Congrats.
Does that address all the board professionals, Madam Secretary?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we can move on to item number 7. Memorializing the resolution for case 25. Good. That one.
25-07, that's 10 Essex Urban Renewal LLC, 8-22 South Essex Avenue, preliminary and final major site plan approval. And that was included in the Dropbox for all the board members and the professionals.
Mr. Chairman, if I may,
Madam Secretary.
in this resolution, Council Vice President Montague is not able to vote. He was not present.
Okay.
Needs it. All right. So with that, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion from Member Mobley and a second from Mayor Warren. Are there any questions on the motion? Seeing none?
Member Foston,
Yes.
Member Mobley,
Yes.
Member Latour,
Yes.
Council Vice President Montague,
Abstain.
Mayor Warren,
Yes.
Chairman Holmes.
Yes,
Motion passes. Congratulations.
thank you. Next up is the memorialized resolution for case number 25-08. That's 23 Essex Urban Renewal LLC. That's 26 Tony Galento Plaza, preliminary and final major site plan approval.
Mr. Chairman, if I may,
Madam Secretary?
in this resolution, Council Vice President Montague is not able to vote. He was not present.
All right, thank you. With that, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion.
We have a motion from Member Mobley.
Second.
We have a second from Member Foston. Are there any questions on the motion? Seeing none, Madam Secretary?
Member Foston,
Yes.
Member Mobley,
Yes.
Member Latour,
Yes.
Council Vice President Montague,
Abstain.
Mayor Warren,
Yes.
Chairman Holmes,
Yes.
motion passes.
All right. Next up would be memorialized resolution for case number 25-13. That's VA 475 Urban Renewal LLC, 475 Main Street, amended site plan approval.
Mr. Chairman, if I may,
Madam Secretary?
in this resolution, Council Vice President Montague voted no.
Okay. With that, I entertain a motion.
Motion.
Second.
Motion and we have a motion from Member Mobley and a second from Mayor Warren. Are there any questions on the motion? Seeing none, Madam Secretary?
Member Foston,
Yes.
Member Mobley,
Yes.
Member Latour,
Yes.
Council Vice President Montague,
Abstain.
Mayor Warren,
Yes.
Chairman Holmes,
Yes.
motion passes.
Thank you. The next item would be memorialized resolution for case number 25-12, VA 583 LLC. That's 583 Scotland Road, preliminary and final site plan approval.
Mr. Chairman, if I may,
Madam Secretary?
in this resolution, Council Vice President Montague voted no.
Okay. With that, I entertain a motion for this resolution.
Motion Montague.
And
Mr.
Montague, no. Councilman, you cannot make the motion since you voted no on this.
Okay. Motion.
We have a motion from Member Mobley. Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
Second from Mayor Warren. Are there any questions on the motion? Seeing none, Madam Secretary?
Member Foston,
Yes.
Member Mobley,
Yes.
Member Latour,
Yes.
Council Vice President Montague,
Abstain.
Mayor Warren,
Yes.
Chairman Holmes,
Yes,
motion passes.
thank you. That was quick and decent. Very good. So first case on the agenda. Case number 25-10, G&R Used Auto Sales, Inc., 78 South Jefferson Street, preliminary and final site plan approval.
Mr. Chairman, if I may,
Madam Secretary?
Attorney Jennifer Carrillo Perez, I saw, where are you? It's here on behalf of the applicant. 1 second.
Yeah, there she is in the corner there.
Oh, there we go.
We're gonna just do this. This is
Yes. There we go.
Good evening, Attorney Carrillo Perez.
good evening and happy holidays, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.
Here, if I can proceed, I think Madam Secretary Matt Flynn is also part of our team. I don't see him. He's here. Yeah. Just so that for the record.
Okay.
All right. Good evening, Jennifer Carrillo Perez of Connell Foley on behalf of the applicant, which is the J&R Used Auto Sales Inc., who's the owner and applicant for the application before you this evening, 25-10, as it relates to the 78-80 South Jefferson Street. For purposes of the application and ease, we just will call him the applicant, the entity, the applicant. The property is located within the City of Orange's townships, mixed-use, high-density residential, and general commercial MX3 zone. And the application before you this evening is seeking preliminary and final site plan approval and variance relief for the construction of a 6-story mixed-use building that will be comprised of 45 residential units, retail commercial space, parking, and some tenant amenity spaces. There are several variances that were identified in relation to this. They relate to rear yard setback and lot coverage by building. There is also a waiver that you will hear our professionals kind of walk you through. We did have this matter was carried, so for purposes of housekeeping, I just want to note that notice and the affidavit of notice was provided to your board secretary previously. And we preserved notice, and so we are here under that guise. And so without any objection, is that correct, Ms. Reyes?
Yes, that is correct.
So I just wanted to note that for the record, so that the affidavit was submitted previously. We were before the board for an adjournment. We did carry that. So if I can proceed, during the course of testimony, you'll hear our professionals. We will have Mr. Brian Grant from Grant Engineering will be providing testimony. I'll call him as our first witness as professional engineer. We then have Mr. Jeffrey Lewis from Palermo Architecture. He will be providing testimony with the design of the building. And then Matt Flynn with McDonough Associates is our planner, and he'll be providing the general analysis as it relates to the relief that's being sought for site plan, as well as the variance relief that's being requested this evening. We have to date received the planner's report, and that is it. I believe we just had one additional report as it related to completeness. Is that correct? And an engineering report that's predated, like September-ish. Is that correct?
1 second, please.
I just want to make sure we're all operating off of the same information.
I have a technical review September 18th, 2025.
Correct. And the Nishwain report.
Yes,
That's it.
planner's report, the date is September 16th, 2025.
Correct. We've received nothing further. I think my office confirmed with you today as well. All right, wonderful. So if I can ask Mr. Grant to please be sworn in so that we can proceed.
Mr. Grant, thanks for raising your right hand. Do you swear from the testimony you're about to give tonight before the board is the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
All right. Mr. Grant, if you can, please provide the board the benefit of state your name for the record, your business information, as well as the status of your educational background and license, please.
Yes, my name is Brian Grant. I'm the principal with Grant Engineering and Construction Group located in Newark, New Jersey. We're the site civil engineers for the applicant. I have a Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering from NYU Polytechnic University. And I'm a licensed civil engineer in the state of New Jersey, and my license is active.
And you've been accepted by this board as a professional and as it relates to civil engineering, correct?
Yes, I have.
Okay. I'd like to submit Mr. Grant purposes of providing testimonies for engineering for this application.
Good evening, Mr. Grant. Yes, this board will accept Mr. Grant as an expert in engineering. And because you've been before us before, Mr. Grant, it's a pleasure to see you again. But know that your testimony will be limited to that as an engineer.
Understood.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Grant, your office prepared the plans that were submitted as part of this application, correct?
Yes.
And you've had an opportunity to review the reports and have actually had discussions with the city professional as it relates to some of those items in their reports, correct?
My colleagues discussed it with city professionals, correct?
Wonderful. If you can, please provide the board, just walk them through, let's walk them through the site plan as it was presented.
Okay. So I will share my screen. Participant screen sharing is disabled. If you could enable it, please.
Try it now, please.
Okay. Okay.
There we are.
So the existing site, 78-80 South Jefferson Street, is utilized for vehicle repairs. It's an existing 16,000 919 square foot site. That's about 103 feet, 103.5 feet of vehicle frontage along South Jefferson Street. What we propose is we will demolish the entire site. The building will be demolished. The existing pavement that covers the rest of the site will be removed. The curbs and sidewalks will be demolished and reconstructed as part of the development. So the development, as Jennifer alluded to, involves a 6-story building, 45 units, with a unit mix of 10 studios, 21 one-bedrooms, and 14 two-bedrooms. The majority of the ground floor is utilized for parking. What is not utilized for parking includes a small commercial space, as you will see, and I will annotate it as I move along, Mr. Chairman. You have a commercial space on your left with the refuse and recycling component of that commercial space immediately behind the commercial space. The rest of the ground floor has the refuse and recycling area for the residential units above, and that there'll be a chute on every floor that will come down, and the refuse will be coordinated with our private hauler. The building's management will coordinate that refuse removal with a private hauler, and that refuse will be taken out and delivered curbside, picked up, and then the empty container returned to that refuse room in the back. And the residential lobby that accesses both the elevator and one of the stairs for the residential units above. And then the final non-parking component of that ground floor is the mechanical room, which will house all the utilities that serve the building. The remainder of that ground floor will be utilized for both vehicular and bicycle parking. We have an 18-unit bike rack setup, wall-mounted on the left, what I've highlighted over here. So the residents will be able to access that bike rack via the lobby, come in, mount their bikes, dismount their bikes, and go, exit through the lobby and utilize their bikes. The rest of the site is utilized for residential parking. We've provided 61 spaces for residential use. The spaces arranged in stackable parking system. So how the system works is each resident would have a code. They'll come in, they'll be able to park their car on the carriage. The carriage will move the car to an empty space. And then when they're ready to retrieve the car, they put in their code, and the system automatically brings the car back to that space, and they retrieve it and they drive out. So we have we have exactly 7 spaces on let me just delete my markup here. We have 7 of these triple stacked spaces on the left, as you can see here, which has 42 spaces just in there, because every 9.3 by 20 foot space has 3 carriages for cars. And then as you see in front here, there's another 9.3 by 20 foot space that has another 3 carriages for the cars. And then on the right, you have a 5 triple stacker that would also have 15 spaces on that side. So it's an automated system that is code accessible by the residents. So that system is also, in terms of the number of parking spaces, we also have 3 ADA spaces to the front of the development, and my system's moving a little slow.
Right.
So we have 3 ADA spaces at the front, and these spaces will also be utilized as EV spaces. What we've seen in other applications in other municipalities is, from a fire safety standpoint, they like the EV spaces to the front of the facility. So we've combined that, the EV and the ADA spaces, to address those concerns as well as meeting the EV requirement for the site. The last category of spaces that we have on the site, we have 4 spaces to the rear of the site for retail, the retail employees. And the thinking is, these spaces obviously within the development will be for both residential and retail employees. And we classify these spaces as longer term users. So they're not retail customers that are coming and spending 15 minutes to an hour. These are users, whether they be residential or commercial employees, that are spending hours, 6 to 8 hours parked at the site.
So, Mr. Grant, just to follow up on that, the Nishwain report had asked some testimony as to how they envision working to access into the site. And so if you can just walk them through, because I think the question related to those 4 spaces as well.
Yeah, so what we have is we have a 23-foot double loaded travel lane. And what you will have is everyone, both residential and retail, would access the site. They'll come in, the retail space would park in the retail spots at the rear of the site. This portion of the site is not covered by the building. The remaining spaces are covered by the building. And then when they egress from the site, they'll basically come out and they'll go through the same garage entrance as the residential spaces back onto South Jefferson Street.
Right. And just for the record, that'll be clear that those 4 spaces, it's the intention of the applicant, and this is for the board, that those spaces, while identified as commercial retail, they are limited to those tenants themselves, meaning the operator, the employees. So there will not be, as Mr. Grant had indicated, a constant in and out, because it's intended that they be there for long purposes, right? Long-term purposes.
Correct.
So that's just for clarification. And you indicated they will be accessing the site through that curb cut.
Yes.
An additional question related to whether the applicant will be installing an alert system at that access, the access to and from the garage, for alerting the pedestrians.
Yeah, so the ground floor garage will be a gated entrance. There'll be an overhead rolling door that will come down. Whenever the door is activated, there'll be both an audio and visual alarm. We will add it to the front of the building. So if any pedestrians are crossing or along South Jefferson Street, they can see it and they can hear it when the garage door is activated, in terms of ingress and egress of the vehicles.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Okay. So that's how the ground floor is programmed for this development. The rest of the site, if I may just move out here, the rest of the site is basically landscaping. So on the left, you see where we have more of the spaces. The building staggers and kind of staggers back to, because the left of the site is on an angle. So the building steps back as the angle moves from left to right. So what we've done is we've programmed that space with grass, and we've added 4 shade trees that would eventually grow up to be 20 to 27 feet on that side. On the right side of the building, where we don't have as much space. So what we've done is we've just made that grass. We've not added trees, but that's essentially what the site is. Based on some feedback from the board planner, we will, if approval is granted, as a condition of approval, we would supplement the site improvements with some 5-foot board-on-board fencing to provide some additional visual screen and to minimize any off-site lighting pollution. We will provide a 5-foot board-on-board fence along both the sides, the rear, and return it to the front of the building.
Thank you.
With respect to, so that really covers the landscaping element of it. With respect to the lighting element of it, we've proposed some building mounted lighting on the front of the building. So we have roughly 6 lights on the front of the building that will illuminate the sidewalk, illuminate the the entrances to the commercial space and the residential spaces. And then within the garage itself, we will have ceiling mounted lights that will illuminate the garage and allow it to function safely for pedestrian and vehicular circulation. And
One
Yes, go ahead.
second, Mr. Grant. Mr. Chairman? Do you hear me?
I hear you. I'm sorry.
All right. Vice Chair Jones joined the meeting.
Let the record show that at 8:02, Vice Chair Jones has arrived to the meeting. Thank you. Pardon for the interruption.
That's fine. So all the utilities, obviously, the site fronts on South Jefferson Street, so all the utilities connect onto South Jefferson Street. What we proposed is we have a 6-inch sanitary line that connects to an existing 24-inch sanitary sewer. We have an 8-inch PVC storm outfall line that will connect to the existing storm sewer on South Jefferson Street. And then we have a gas line that would obviously connect to the gas main. And then the water connections, water and fire connections will connect to the existing water main on South Jefferson Street. The final sizing will be determined of the water connections, and the gas connections will be determined by the MEP engineer. But we wanted to show that just so the board understands the totality of the utility connections. We have an underground detention system that will collect all the stormwater runoff on the roof, all the stormwater runoff from the landscape areas on both sides of the property, and it will be routed through 3 30-inch HDPE pipes and routed through an OCS into the 8-inch PVC system and into the city's storm sewer. So that's the site plan in a nutshell, Ms. Perez.
Yep.
With respect to trash and recycling, as I said, that will be coordinated with the private hauler. There was a question on whether or not the building will have security. What we're proposing cameras will be provided along the building perimeter. That the location and design of the cameras will be done by the electrical engineer and the security professional. So we're not showing them as now on the site plan. However, at the condition of approval, we will show them and add a note stating that security cameras will be provided along the perimeter of the building.
Thank you.
With respect to the variances that are being triggered and the design waivers that are being triggered by this application, based on feedback that we got from the planner, we really wanted to accommodate the additional parking for the retail employees, as I've testified to earlier. So what that did is it triggered a 7% increase in building in excessive building coverage. So whereas 70% is required, we have 74.9%. So we exceed the required building coverage by 7%. But again, that's really driven by the fact that we wanted to provide long-term employee parking for the commercial use. And also the building sits roughly 18.4 feet back from the rear setback, from the rear yard, from the rear property line rather. And whereas the code requires 25 feet. So we infringe on the setback by 6.6 feet. It's a minimal setback. We've mitigated that setback. We do have a courtyard on the second floor. We have amenity space on the roof. So whereas the setback is normally reserved so that you have some ground level open space and amenity, we've mitigated that by adding amenity spaces within the building. So we are asking for variance relief on that with respect to the rear yard setback and also with respect to the building coverage. We also requesting a waiver with respect to the off-street loading space. We intend to utilize one of the residential spaces, and I would just show the board which space exactly. The intent is we have one of the residential spaces that is oversized, and let me just slide this down. that the space itself is 12 feet, 12.1 feet by 20 feet. So this space that's directly to the bottom of steer number 2, the intent is we utilize that for loading and unloading when the residents are moving in and out of the building. So even though we don't have a designated off-street loading space, we have accommodated that operation within the design schematic and the design footprint.
Okay.
Yep. That concludes my testimony, Ms. Perez.
Thank you very much. I was going to ask you about that. I think there was one other clarification, but I think you indicated that the plan would be for purposes of loading and unloading, and we certainly can't attest to the frequency. I think that was an additional question, simply because we're not aware as of right now who the retail operator would be, and so it'd be difficult to make that assessment. Would that be a correct representation?
That is correct.
All right, great. Thank you, Mr. Grant. I have no additional questions.
Are there any questions for Mr. Grant from any member? Mr. Grant, the question I had, that loading area that you just referenced, is that strictly for the retails?
No, so the loading space will do dual use. So we anticipate the building management will coordinate its accessibility. So as I said, when the tenants are moving in and out, that space will be available just for the residential use. It's not anticipated it will be utilized for commercial.
And then the other question that I had was, how many elevators were there? And if you don't mind putting that back up on the screen, I'd like to take a look at that, please.
Okay, so the architect could speak to it. We
Yes.
have one elevator, but the architect could speak more on the elevator.
That's fine.
Yeah,
That's
Mr.
perfect.
Chairman,
Fine.
he was going to walk you through. He's our next witness. He can probably walk you through those plans with greater detail.
Right. And can somebody speak to the cameras being connected with the police department?
Yes, we can affirm that will happen. We will ensure that the security cameras are connected with the police department.
Thank you very much. Member Foston.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Mr. Grant, for your presentation. My question is, can you tell us how many parking spaces gonna be available for the commercial purposes, and how many gonna be for the resident of the building?
Yeah, so we have 61 spaces for the residents, and we have 4 spaces for the commercial.
But because I see you have commercial, you have like mechanical rooms. It's a garage.
No. It's for the water pump, the fire pumps,
Okay.
Yeah, it's for the utilities.
I thought that was
The
garage.
mechanics.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
If I may, Chair. If I may, Chair. You muted.
The mechanics has got me. Member Latour.
Yeah, I had a quick question. Thank you, Chair. You mentioned the exit on Jefferson, that there will be audible notification. Will there be visual notification as well? Because that street is sort of like semi residential, and there's some commercial properties in there as well. And I'm very familiar with that street, and traffic is a little bit speedy there. So will there be also visual? And it gets pretty dark there at night.
Yes.
Okay.
Any other questions for Mr. Grant?
Yes,
Councilman Montague.
yes. This is related to the parking system that you have set up. In the event of a power shortage or outage, is there a battery backup?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
And this is going to be 6 levels? This
It's a 6-story building, 5/1 construction. Yep.
and any of the parking that's all underground?
Yes, it's a triple stacker system, so you have one that's subterranean and then one's elevated and one's at ground level.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
If I could follow up, Chair.
Yes, Member Latour.
Yeah, I wasn't clear on the question, the answer. Is the parking below grade or is it just below the residential units?
It's below the residential units. So, however, the triple stacker system could be two ways. It could be you can have it's 3 levels, so you can have all 3 levels above grade. You can have 2 levels above grade and 1 subterranean. The final design hasn't been worked out, but what the testimony I provided was the subterranean option. But depending on the ground clearance that we need between the floor and the ceiling, we may be able to stack them all 3 above ground.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for that clarity. Clarifying question, because that wasn't clear to me. So,
Okay.
So you can walk into the parking lot and pull your car out the same entrance or exit. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Street level.
Yes.
Okay.
There'll be no ramp down to any parking. Everything will be at ground level. Correct.
Okay. Any further questions for Mr. Grant?
Yes, Chairman Holmes.
Councilman?
With respect to individuals that live in your apartment building that are disabled, do you have disabled spots for them?
Yes, sir. We have 3 spots right at the front, close to the rear, to the garage entrance.
Thank you.
Member
Chair?
Mobley?
Yes.
Member Mobley?
Good evening, Mr. Grant.
Good evening, sir.
The triple stack parking system, has that been deployed in Orange previously?
Not to my knowledge, sir, but I can't speak to other developments that we're not involved with.
Okay. Can you tell us where it has been deployed, where you are familiar with it?
There's an example of it in Jersey City that we're familiar with.
All right. Excellent. Thank you. And it has had no incidents?
Not to our knowledge, no.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Just
Vice Chair Jones?
I just had a quick question because I came in a little bit late. I did read everything before the meeting today, but can I don't know his name that was just speaking,
Mr. Grant?
Mr. Grant, sorry. Could you just go through, I just want to make sure I have all the variances that you're looking for written down, and I know you already talked about them, so I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. That's fine. So we need 2 variances. One is insufficient rear yard. We have 18.4 feet to the rear of the building. 25 feet is required. And then we need the second variance that's required is excessive building coverage. Our building takes up 74.9% of the site. 70% is required. And and then there's the third relief that we're requesting is a waiver for the off-street loading space. But as I testified to, we do have an accommodation for that. It's just not a designated loading spot, but we've accommodated the likelihood of being able to load and unload when residents move in and out of the building.
And then regarding the ADA versus EV spots, is there, which one takes precedence?
ADA.
ADA.
Okay.
So as I said, as I testified to, Mr. Chairman, based on from feedback we've gotten from other fire departments, they prefer the EV spots towards the front of the building. However, there's nothing that limits us from locating the EV spots within the building for the ground level parking. We will utilize it for the triple stack parking because there's some machinery that may interfere with the operation. But for the surface level, ground level parking, there's nothing that really limits us from locating those EV spots. But the ADA spots would definitely take precedent.
Mr. Chairman, if I may,
Yeah, Madam Secretary,
Member Anuké has joined the meeting.
let the record show that 817 Member Anuké is present, has arrived to the meeting. Good evening, Member Anuké. Trying to ask a question, I just don't know how to formulate it. If those three spots that you speak of, ADA versus EV, are, let's say there's EV vehicles of a resident, and then a ADA needing person comes, a resident comes, how do you handle that? Or have you guys figured that out yet?
Well, the EV space, if it doesn't have an ADA placard, wouldn't be allowed to utilize the ADA space. So even though you have an EV car, if you don't have, if you're not regulated and you don't have the ADA placard, you cannot charge your car in the ADA space.
Okay. And then is the parking included with each unit?
That I would have to defer to Ms. Perez on.
Yeah, I didn't understand the question. You're asking, I apologize.
Is there one parking spot per unit?
I think management is going to allocate that based on need. And so, for example, because we have Studio 1s and 2s, we may have folks who don't have the two vehicles, they just have the one or whatever, they may need it. So it's going to be on an as needed basis, but the plan is there's sufficient parking as of right now for one space per unit with overage, with excess parking. As you know, this application doesn't have a variance, so the goal is that this project satisfies the variance, the necessary parking for the units that are being proposed, and it will be gauged based on as need with the tenants.
Okay. And Mr. Martini will address that once he
Of
has
course.
his time. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else for Mr. Grant? Thank you for your testimony, Mr. Grant.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Grant. Mr. Chairman, if I can call my next witness?
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. Mr. Jeffrey Lewis, please.
Mr. Lewis, thanks. Do you raise your right hand? Do you swear affirm the testimony you're about to give tonight before the board is the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Lewis, can you please provide the board the benefit of your business address and then the status of your educational background, please, for qualification?
Sure. We're located on Mountain Road in Kinnelon, but I usually work out of my home here in Newark, actually. But for myself, I graduated from NJIT with a degree in architecture in 2004. I got my license in the state of New Jersey for architecture in 2009 and have been practicing here ever since. I don't believe I've testified at this board before, but I've testified at most of the boards in this area, mostly Jersey City, but Newark, East Orange, Belleville, Edgewater, a whole bunch in the area.
And in those respective municipalities, you've put in your qualifications and been accepted as an expert in the field of architecture, correct?
That is correct, yes.
And your license currently is in New Jersey is in good standing?
Yes, it is.
Okay. I'd like to submit Mr. Lewis as an expert limited to architectural testimony, please, for this evening.
All right. Good evening, Mr. Lewis. This board will accept you as an expert in architect, and now that you're in Orange, no. So your testimony will be limited to that as an architect. So thank you.
Great, thank you. Can you just let me share my screen, if you don't mind?
Absolutely. Yeah,
Try now.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right. So let me just give a brief summary of the building before I get into it. This is a new 6-story mixed-use building we're proposing with the ground floor retail as well as 65 parking spaces. And then on the 5 stories above, we have a total of 45 apartments. Those break down as 10 studios that are almost all right around 650 square feet. 21 one-bedroom apartments that are mostly 850 to 900 square feet. However, our largest is 1,038 square feet. And then 14 two-bedrooms that are also pretty big. They're from 1,138 square feet to 1,382 square feet. So these are pretty big apartments. All the apartments in the building are ADA adaptable. They all have washer dryers inside the apartment, and they all have ducted furnaces to provide heat and air conditioning. Here I am showing the first floor plan. I think Mr. Grant went over most of this really well. The only thing that I would add that also in this mechanical room, we'll have a sprinkler room somewhere here because this will be a fully sprinklered building. With that, I'd like to move on to the mezzanine, where in the parking area, we're showing where we have those stacks. So you could see the three areas where we have the stacked sections. And then in the front of the building, we have two spaces, a 956 square foot amenity space, as well as a 908 square foot office space. These are both accessed from the residential lobby below via that main stair and the elevator. They also have this trash room, which is going to, as was mentioned, is on every floor. This is the second floor. This is the first floor of residential apartments. There are 9 apartments on this floor. There's 9 apartments on every one of the floors. What we have are 2 studio apartments, which are at the back of the building over here. Then we have 4 two-bedroom apartments. 3 of them are the three apartments facing the front of the building. And the 4th is this apartment facing that interior courtyard that we mentioned. And then there are 3 one-bedroom apartments, 2 on the side here, and then 1 on the back corner up at the top left here. We also, again, have 2 stairs and an elevator connected by a main hallway, and also that trash room with the chute down to the compactor area. Besides this, we do have the courtyard in the center of the building. This is set back, and on this floor, it's used for 3 separate patios. One of them will be a small patio for this one-bedroom apartment. The second will be for the 2-bedroom apartment facing the courtyard. And then the third is a 663 square foot roof terrace, which is accessible via the hallway for all of the building tenants. And we're separating these 3 terraces up with some raised planters.
So Mr. Lewis, just to be clear, Mr. Lewis,
yes.
just to be clear, I apologize. This one area is essentially divided in 3 by planters. The space to your left in that area is going to be dedicated for that one residential unit.
Yeah.
The lower, larger area on the bottom, the wide, correct. That one is for that one particular 2-bedroom unit, correct?
Yes.
And then
correct.
the remainder of it that you indicated is approximately 663 square feet is for the use for the other tenants. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes.
And then they would access that by that doorway right where your pointer is, correct?
That is correct, yes.
All right, thank you.
Okay. With that, this is the 3rd and the 4th floor. The layout is actually exactly the same as the 2nd floor. The only difference is obviously we don't have that roof deck to use anymore. And then here we're looking at the 5th floor plan. Again, all the apartments at the rear of the building are the same. However, at the front of the building, at the 5th floor, we are stepping the entire building back 10 feet. And so those 3, well, we're 2-bedroom apartments have been changed into 1-bedroom apartments. And these are 3 of our larger 1-bedroom apartments. And we're using that 10-foot roof area as a private roof deck for each of those apartments. So again, each of these 3 apartments will be able to walk out to their own private roof deck. And those 3 decks are separated the same way as the courtyard was, with some raised planters here and here.
Perfect.
Here we're looking at the 6th floor plan. Again, it's the interior layout is exactly the same as the 5th floor. The only difference is we don't have those roof decks anymore. Instead, we have some smaller balconies, which will provide these 3 apartments with some exterior space. And then lastly, we have our roof plan. We have a very large, centrally located roof deck, which is for all the tenants. This roof deck is 3,145 square feet. We've surrounded it with, again, these raised planters on both sides. It's also set back from the building facades on all sides to provide a little bit of separation from all the neighboring buildings. We're using that space for all of our air conditioning condensers. And this roof is also obviously accessed by both stairs, the elevator, and the trash room. So now moving on to the building elevations, I want to show these, and then I have a rendering to show you. So we do have two main building materials that we're using here. On the lower levels, the first to the fourth floor, the main material is mostly a brick finish. The upper two levels, we're using a white fiber cement hardy panel finish. Looking at the ground floor to the building, because we have that mezzanine, we have a really nice double height space. So we can have these double height window openings for the store, for the residential entry, as well as for the garage area. We're also proposing these two canopies over the commercial space and the residential entry to emphasize those spaces a little bit.
Mr. Lewis, I'm sorry to interrupt. Mr. Lewis, as it relates to those canopies, just confirming that they will not be encroaching on any public right of way. Is that correct?
So we can shorten them to just be to stay on our property, sure.
Correct. Thank you.
I think they were originally thought to be projecting out, but we're gonna keep them pretty small.
Correct.
So they only project out the minimum allowed.
Yeah, that was a comment, just so the board's aware, that was a comment that was raised during the TRC. We've agreed that they will not encroach on the public right of way. They will be within the property itself. Okay. Please.
Okay. All these, we have black frames for all of our windows and doors. The garage door is a black open grate metal garage door. You can see up at the upper levels, we're proposing glass railings for the balconies. We also have glass railings. It's a little hard to see here. It's a little easier to see on the rendering at the roof line around all four sides. Looking to the left elevation on the right side here, you can see where we stepped back on the upper levels 10 feet. Then other than that, we have all the same finishes wrapping around that left side of the building. And then I'm moving on to the rear and the right side elevation. And I do, again, want to note, I think the most important thing is that we are using the same brick and fiber cement siding finishes on all four sides of the building. A lot of times with buildings like this, you'll see, the front has this really nice brick and maybe it wraps around the side a little bit and then the rest is vinyl siding. We recognize we have the field behind us. This is going to be a pretty visible building. We want it to look great from all directions. So we're using the same high quality finishes on all four elevations of the building, which I think is a nice touch here. The only other thing I really want to note on this floor is here we can see the courtyard on the right side elevation, and all three walls of that courtyard are going to be finished with the fiber cement panels coming down. And they also have that's going to help to make that a little brighter space, a little, reflection. And then we're also proposing using that glass railing, the same that we have at the top. And then lastly, I do want to show this rendering, but I think we have to mark this as an exhibit. Is that right?
We do, correct. It's going to, Madam Secretary, Mr. Chairman, Exhibit A1. Okay. So this is our rendering of the building. I think this really does do it justice.
I'm
Shows
sorry,
what we're planning to do
Attorney
here.
Hawkins, yes. I apologize. Attorney Hawkins.
A1's fine.
A1.
A1 to mark this as the exhibit.
And what is the title of this one?
I would say 78-80 South Jefferson Street rendering.
That right there. Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great, thanks. Okay, so I do think this does a better job than what I just showed you of really showing the finishes and what we're talking about doing here. The only thing I do want to note is the brick is a little off. It's hard to get the right color brick. What we're proposing is going to be a little darker, more of a deeper reddish, almost purple color. It's really a quite beautiful brick. You can see the glass railings and everything. I think it's a pretty nice rendering. So I think I'm just going to end on that and say thank you, and I can answer any questions that you have for me.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis.
I apologize, Attorney Perez.
No worries. I was just thanking Mr. Lewis. And we will be sending over this exhibit to the board secretary so that it's part of the record.
All right. Are there any questions for Mr. Lewis from any board member? Mr. Lewis,
Mr. Chair?
who is that? Member Mobley?
Yeah. I don't know, perhaps I may have missed it. But has anyone so far talked about any tree plantings or shrubberies in the area around the building?
We did, Mr. Mobley, yes. Mr. Grant discussed the landscaping. I'm happy to have him come back and provide that overview again.
Okay, no, that's fine. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Lewis, do you have a rendering of the courtyard area? That was a beautiful picture you had there.
Thank you. I think it did come out very nice.
Do you have the
Unfortunately, I
other view?
don't have the rendering of the courtyard area. We just have the front view.
You got my hopes all up. Okay.
Oh, sorry about that.
And then my question, and this may not be for you, but I'm gonna ask the questions. 6 stories in that area on Jefferson Street, smack dab in the middle of South Jefferson. Have you been in that area?
That would be an appropriate question for the planner.
Okay, I can hold it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Any other questions for Mr. Lewis? All right. Thank you for your testimony, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. And let me, if it'd be okay with you, Mr. Chairman, I'm just trying to find Mr. Flynn on my
Yeah, he's
screen.
there. There he is.
I still don't see.
Ah,
Oh, there you are.
Yeah,
Okay,
Jen,
I had
yep.
It was the
I
lighting.
guess
Thank you so much. If I can have Mr. Flynn sworn in, please.
Mr. Flynn, can you raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give tonight before the board is the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Great. Mr. Flynn, can you please provide the board the benefit of your current place of employment, your title, and your educational background for purposes of qualification?
Sure. My employment is with John McDonough Associates, located at 101 Gibraltar Drive in Morris Plains. I graduated Rutgers with a master's degree in planning and public policy. I have my professional planner's license in the state of New Jersey, as well as the AICP licensure, which is the national licensure for planners.
Great. And Mr. Flynn, your license is current and in good standing?
That's correct.
And have you had the privilege of testifying before this board or any board in Orange?
I believe I've testified before this board, yes.
I'd like to submit Mr. Flynn as an expert limited to his testimony as a professional planner.
And just one question, Mr. Flynn. How long have you been practicing? As a planner?
About 6 years.
6 years. All right. Thank you. All right, this board will accept you as an expert in planning.
Thank you,
And
sir.
as your attorney said,
Yeah.
it'd be limited.
Yeah, I will say Mr. Flynn does look young for his.
You said it, not
I
me.
did.
Okay.
I'll own it.
All
I
right.
will own it.
Okay.
It's fine. I apologize. That's a compliment, Mr. Flynn.
I know.
So if you can, Mr. Flynn, you've had the benefit of reviewing the ordinances and the redevelopment plan where this property is located. Is that correct?
That's correct.
All right. And you have reviewed the plans and heard the testimony this evening as it relates to the relief that's being requested, correct?
I have.
Okay. And I'm going to ask you to please provide the board with your analysis as to the justification for the relief that's being requested. And just reiterating that what's being sought are 2 C variances and 1 waiver, and that we are not seeking relief as it relates to height, density, parking, or any of that nature. Is that correct?
That's correct.
All right. If you can, please provide the board with your analysis as it relates to the site plan and variance relief that's before this board this evening.
Sure. So, Mr. Chair, with your permission, I do have an exhibit that I'd like to just pop up on the screen here. What are we up to now?
It's going to be A2.
Okay.
And if you can just describe if it's how many sheets and if we can.
Yeah, Exhibit A2 is going to be a 5-page exhibit consisting of some drone shots taken by my office on September 24th, 2025.
Mr. Hawkins, I'd like to just say it would be Exhibit A2, 5-page planners exhibit, if that's okay.
That's okay with me. Is that okay, Madam Secretary?
Yes, that's okay with me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. So while I throw this up on the screen here, I want to maybe have the board keep that image of Mr. Lewis's rendering in mind in terms of what we are going to be beautifying this property with. And then contrasting that with, here's Exhibit A2 with what we have out there now. Here we have this auto-centric auto body shop here with cars parked out in the front. We see cars parked on the side, in the back. Here we are in the MX3 zone. We have residences nearby. I think I would categorize this as sort of an eyesore in the context of the neighborhood. It certainly stands out as being what I would say is detrimental to the neighborhood. And of course, contrasting that with, again, that beautiful rendering that we just saw, which will vastly improve the aesthetics of the neighborhood, bringing a residential component back here along with that commercial component on the bottom, which, as we know, is permitted in the MX3 zone, having a mixed-use building such as the one that we're proposing here. The other thing that we see here on page 1 is, of course, your Bell Stadium that is right behind us. Just going over to sheet 2, just sort of flipping that drone around, now looking north up the road there. Here we get a nice view of, again, what's happening in the back. Importantly, as was noted, one of the variances that we're requesting is for the rear setback of the building. But again, all in the name of improving what's out there now. If we look at what's back there in the rear of the property today, it's certainly an undesirable condition. And despite the fact that we are proposing a 6 foot, about 6 foot rear setback variance, again, it is going to constitute what I would say is a substantial improvement over the existing conditions, specifically in the back of the property. Sheet 3 now we're looking west, and we can see the road basically in the middle of the screen here. We get a view of the back of the property. Here we can see that the rear lot line is basically adjacent to, pretty much half of it is adjacent to the Bell Stadium. And then the other half, we do have this residential property, which is actually the back of a accessory structure. And so again, improving those backyard conditions, the relationships with both the Bell Stadium as well as this residential neighbor. And sheet 4, now we're just looking south. We see Monroe Street basically running left to right in the center of this image, just giving the board another view of those undesirable conditions all around this property in its current form. And finally, sheet 5 is just a simple top-down shot, giving sort of the comprehensive view of how this property is being currently utilized. Importantly, what we see here is 100% lot coverage. So despite the fact that we are requesting a building coverage variance, we are substantially reducing the overall coverage on the property. We are compliant with lot coverage as a whole. The variance that we're seeking is specifically related to the coverage associated with the building. But again, the building massing is not going to stand out. It's going to rather improve the existing conditions. As Ms. Perez mentioned, we are compliant with every other bulk requirement in the MX3 zone. And so with that sort of background, just to orient the board as to, what we're looking at here, my planning analysis takes into account all of that, the surrounding neighborhood, the property itself, to tie all of that into the statutory criteria for those 2C variances that we're seeking. Again, those variances being the rear setback as well as the building coverage. So when we look at C variances, one of the tests we look at is the C2 balancing test, which is basically, do the benefits of the application as a whole substantially outweigh any detriments? We need not look at the benefits that stem forth from each individual variance, but rather, again, we look at the benefits of the application as a whole. In that regard, we look at the municipal land use law, the purposes of zoning set forth therein. Why do we have these requirements in the first place? Purpose A, promotion of the general welfare. Here we're providing new housing stock in I would say, a very desirable place to live. We just walked the board through the floor plans, the nice amenities that we have on the property. Purpose G, variety of uses in appropriate locations. Here we're looking at a permitted use in the zone. It's substantially compliant from a bulk perspective. compliant in terms of building height to address Chairman Holmes' initial comment there. So really what we're proposing is not going to stand out in the context of the neighborhood. It's going to look and feel appropriate given the MX3 zone. Purpose I, desirable aesthetics. Again, not to beat a dead horse, but just falling back on Mr. Lewis's nice renderings here, vastly improving the aesthetics of this property, the streetscape, replacing an eyesore with something that is permitted in the zone. And finally, purpose M, efficient use of land. Here we're looking at an already developed piece of property that I would say is more intensely utilized today. It has a detrimental impact on the streetscape as it stands now, as well as a detrimental impact on its neighbors. And of course, we are decreasing the overall impervious coverage of the property. And also adding that nice landscaping that we saw. The flip side to that would be the negative criteria, no substantial detriment to the public or to the zone. In that regard, I would direct the board to look at the Nishwain Group memo. And here we have a nice list of all of the requirements of the MX3 zone, lot area, lot width. We have setback requirements for all of the sides here. We meet all of those except for the rear setback. Again, we are compliant with impervious. We're looking at 81.7%. We're allowed to go up to 90%. And the building coverage is just shy of 5% in terms of being 5% over that 70% requirement. In terms of the building height, again, going back to the chairman's comments, in this zone, we are allowed 95 feet. And at 75.4 feet, we are actually not a full, but almost 20 feet below that threshold that we would be allowed. The other important thing in terms of the negative criteria is floor area ratio. We are allowed 4 and we are at 0.6. And so again, the massing here is not out of sync in terms of what's permitted per zoning. So really all said in terms of the negative criteria, when we look at the requirements of the zone, we're not looking at something that is a far cry from what's permitted. In terms of impacts to the public, again, vast improvement to the property. It's going to really constitute an aesthetic upgrade. And I believe that the C2 test is therefore met, where the benefits clearly outweigh the negatives. So if there's any redirect, Jen, that's my testimony.
Thank you, Mr. Flynn. And just to reiterate, just follow up, you indicated the 2 variances, the rear yard setback, and you demonstrated in your photos in your exhibit A2 that the rear yard setback, while it's required is 25, we are proposing 18.4, but there is no residential or any use behind that property. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And with respect to maximum lot coverage, you heard the testimony from Mr. Grant. That percentage is de minimis, as you indicated, less than 5%. And Mr. Grant testified that that increase was the result of adding additional parking that was discussed during TRC to accommodate 4 spaces for the commercial use. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And in your opinion, would that justify the relief that's being requested, the accommodation of additional parking for the commercial spaces?
Absolutely.
Great. I have no additional questions. Thank you.
With that, are there any questions from Mr. Flynn? All right, Mr. Flynn, beautiful building. I think it's a wonderful piece of work that's being proposed, and you're absolutely right. I agree with you 100% that it is better than what's there now. But my thought, even though you can build it, do you have to build it? Even though it is allowed, do you have to go so big? That's my concern. That in that area, as you can see, a lot of the properties are 2 to 3 story houses, and even the property right next to it. This new development that is being proposed is going to cast a very large shadow over that property. And again, I know you're absolutely right. It is accepted, it's required, all that beautiful stuff. But for me, it would stand out tremendously to the neighborhood in that area. Again, I say 2 to 3 story houses, and that would be a very large 6-story apartment building in the middle of, right behind a stadium, a football stadium that is frequently used, not just by the high school, but also by the local little league teams. So I tend to disagree with you that it will stand out as a, I don't want to say monstrosity, but a very large development in that area. So my
Sure.
question is, why do you have to go? Why so high? Why 6 stories? Why not 5, 4? And also, the parking in that area is horrendous right now. And then to put apartment building in there, 6-story apartment building, I think it's going to hinder the area, the residents that are in that area.
Sure. And thank you for that. I think I'm trying to put my exhibit back on the screen, but I'm seeing a message that the host has disabled.
You need permission from the secretary.
There we go.
Please.
So yeah, the only reason I'm putting this back up here is maybe I neglected to point out a couple things here. If we look at sheet 3, and I'm back on exhibit A2 for the record, Ms. Perez pointed out, I would say, a very good observation in terms of when we look at the surrounding properties in the back. But one other important consideration is there is also this commercial building right across the street, which is rather large, not in height, albeit, but a rather large building in terms of its spatial dimensions. And of course, right across from our building, we have a parking lot. And again, just to reiterate, we have the Bell Stadium behind us, and then this sort of underutilized portion of a residential property, which would be behind an accessory shed on the other side. The only reason I bring that back up is to point out that, yes, you are correct that many of the homes around us are 2 to 3 stories in height. But this property is actually somewhat unique, given that when we do look at the vast majority of its immediate surroundings, we are looking at a property that is, again, somewhat unique if we were to compare this to your typical residential property that's surrounded on all sides by other detached dwellings. Here, again, if we look right across the street, we don't have that residential condition. When we look directly behind us, again, we don't see that residential presence there. So your point is well taken, and I'm not trying to be, argumentative, but I would say that that is an important consideration when we talk about, the impacts of this specific property in relation to its neighbors. In regards to your question regarding the just overall massing of the project, again, just to remind the board, we are not seeking a building height variance. So conceivably, if this application were denied and they came back with a fully conforming application that didn't have that rear setback variance or the building coverage variance, you could actually end up with an even taller building. So, when we look at the massing in that respect, when we compare it to what's allowed per zoning, I think we are striking a sort of balance in that regard. We're not maxing out the height. We are allowed to go up another pretty much 20 feet in height. And so I think that is something that the board should consider.
Any other questions from Mr. Flynn? All right, thank you for your testimony, sir.
Thank you.
Sorry, I was muted now. I apologize. It's the day. So I have no additional witnesses.
All right, then we will go to our board professionals. And Mr. Martini,
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So you have a
give you
report.
an opportunity to have Attorney Hawkins swear you in.
Oh, yes, of course. Apologies.
You just raise your right hand. Thank you. Do you swear affirm the testimony you're about to give tonight before the board is the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank
you. Thank you. So thank you, Mr. Chairman and board. You have a report that is dated September 16th of this year. Most of the things I'm going to go through were pretty much already addressed. Again, this site is in the MX3 mixed-use high-density residential and regional commercial districts. Again, to reiterate, Mr. Flynn addressed this, but I'll keep going with it. And it's the reason why this application is in front of this board is that the use of the mixed-use residential commercial that's proposed is permitted, as well as the building type of mixed use. It's both permitted in the MX3 district. That kind of calls for, as I mentioned, it's in its name, being a mixed-use high-density residential district. Again, there's two variances that are being sought: minimum rear yard setback, where 25 feet is the minimum required and 18.4 feet is proposed, and maximum building coverage, where 70% is the maximum permitted and 74.9 is proposed. Again, I believe Mr. Flynn in his planning testimony met the burden of proof with the C2 variance proofs. And further, just a couple other things to address. I believe all the conditions in our report have been addressed mostly. Just to point out, number 2, which I believe Mr. Grant mentioned, the 5-foot board-on-board fence to address light pollution and screening. And further, condition 5, I'm not sure if it was addressed, but if the professionals of the applicant could further emphasize that the safety of pedestrians would be furthered through an alert system so that they know that a vehicle from the parking garage is exiting the garage. And I believe, Mr. Chairman, you wanted me to kind of go through the parking, and I will reference page 10 of our report, where we went through each of the parking requirements. Again, for what's being proposed on this site, it's a total of 64 spaces that are required. And for studio 1 and 2 bedrooms for the city's parking requirement for those residential uses, 1.33 spaces per dwelling unit is required. And with 45 units, that comes to a total of 60 spaces. And further, for the commercial use that's going to be on the site, it's 1 space per 300 square feet of gross floor area. And we have 908 square feet proposed. And with that, rounding up, there are 4 spaces that are required. And further that, the applicant is providing 71 spaces, and that is equivalent based on the 65 physical spaces they're proposing with the stacker arrangement, in addition to the 6-space electric vehicle credit. So I hope that itemization kind of helps with understanding the parking requirement of what's required and proposed by the applicant. I believe that's everything I wanted to address, Mr. Chairman. So if there's anything else, I don't have any questions for any of the any further questions besides that the alert system regarding the pedestrian for any of the applicants' professionals. So thank you.
Are there any questions from any board member for Mr. Martini? All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. K. Lane. Good night, good evening.
Good evening.
Attorney
You
Hawkins.
swear affirm the testimony you're about to give tonight before the board is the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Thank you. So similar to the Nishwayne group, but board members, you have my report as well, and running through the testimony provided by the applicant. I do believe they've substantially addressed the items in there. The one item I would like to call to their attention, should the board find favorable on this application, would be to review the total number of electric vehicle spaces that are provided. This would not affect the parking count in any way, as they're fully utilizing their credit. But pursuant to the city's ordinance, there's a specific number in total that need to be provided. I do not. I know we talk a lot about parking here. I can see your face, Mr. Chairman. I do not intend to cause any additional confusion. They're fully compliant in their parking. I do not take exception to any of that. Just a minor mathematical item, so to speak. But other than that, they've addressed all the other items in my report, and that's all I really have, unless any board members have any questions for me.
All right, thank you, sir. Are there any questions for Mr. K-Lane from any board member? Seeing none? Thank you.
Thank you.
At this time, I entertain a motion to open the public portion of this application.
Motion.
We have a motion from Mayor Warren. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a second from Member Latour. Any questions on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor of opening the public portion of this application, please say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
Is there anyone that opposes opening the public portion of this application? Seeing none, the public portion is now open. If there's anyone from the public that would like to speak to this application, I ask that you first turn your camera on. State your name and address for the record and any concerns, questions that you may have. You have 2 minutes.
Mr. Chairman?
I see Ms. Rodriguez.
Yes.
I'm sorry, Madam Secretary, forgive me.
Yes, yes, Mr. Chairman. I was advising Ms. Rodriguez is first and Rachel Tennant is second.
Very good. Ms. Rodriguez, just your name and your address for the record, please.
Alicia Rodriguez, 487 Mountain View. Good evening, everyone. So I wasn't sure what the variant, I was in and out, it's been a busy day, what the variances and waivers were that you were asking for. I understand that you're saying that they have nothing to do with size and height. Just curious as to that part. The commercial spaces, I also heard you say that they're mostly just for the people that will be working there rather than actual, I guess, shoppers. And my concern is that it being a residential area, I don't want shoppers parking on my street, to be honest. So what can you guys do to maybe fix that problem? And then lastly, I saw the rendering of the building, and while it's very beautiful, it's extremely modern. It does not, in my opinion, fit the aesthetics of Orange. For me, I think of more of Hoboken and their buildings and how they made out of brick. They're beautiful. They're, more historical, for lack of a better word. So are you tied to this design, or are you willing to change the look of the design? I'm not talking about the size or nothing like that, just the overall look.
Still have 1 minute, Ms. Rodriguez.
Well, I mean, if they can answer, then maybe I could just.
All right, I'm asking that you get all your questions out and comments out now, and then I'll have.
Okay, and then lastly, you guys said you're gonna have a place for bikes and stuff, but Orange doesn't have anything in any roads or anything set up for bikers. So does that not is that not a question of concern for you? That's the last question. Sorry, sis.
All right. Thank you. When did you go? Attorney Ferret. Oh, there you are. Hey.
The wave is going to be our mechanism.
Okay. All right.
So thank you for your for coming out this evening. I think I don't know if I need to call any of our professionals back. Candidly, parking on the street is permitted. That's your redevelopment plan permits this project. When you mentioned variances, a redevelopment plan is unique in that it specifically targets an area and identifies what it would like to see there, a municipality, when they adopt it. And so this type of project is what was decided was needed and wanted in that area. So I think your first portion was parking on the street is permitted. I know you don't like it, but unfortunately that's what we do, and that's what the street parking is for. And I don't know how to necessarily respond to that other than say, as long as someone doesn't block your driveway, you should be fine. The second question is rendering. This property is not located within a historic district. The design guidelines, this project was designed within the parameters of the ordinance, and it is aesthetically beautiful. And so I don't believe at this point in time there's any intention to redesign it. We're before the board this evening for final approvals. And then bike parking, again, while it may not be a municipality that, today, or in your opinion, kind of, warrants the bike parking, I understand what you're suggesting. It is something that it is required in ordinances, and most municipalities are pushing forward to do that. So allow that kind of area, not only for folks to utilize their bikes for purposes of leisure and transportation, but also to accommodate them outside of their apartments so that bikes are bulky. And so I think there's an intention on why municipalities are now putting it into their ordinances and redevelopment plans. And so I think, in short, the project was designed with the redevelopment plan and ordinances in mind, and the intention of the applicant is to proceed with the project that was presented before the board this evening. Hope that
And Ms. Carrillo Perez, I think one of the questions was, can you restate the variances that you are requesting?
Sure, absolutely. I apologize. The variances that are being requested, there are two variances. The rear yard setback, 25 feet is required, 18.4 feet is proposed, and there again is nothing behind, and that was shown by the evidence through Exhibit A2 from the planner. And then the second is lot coverage, where 74.9 is proposed and 70 is required, which is a de minimis request. And that number was increased to accommodate a comment made at the TRC for the additional parking on the ground level. So it is those two variances, and then the waiver with off-street loading. And as you heard from Mr. Grant provide his testimony earlier, while we technically do not have a loading spot outside of the building, there is an area within the building that can accommodate for when residents are moving in and out to larger oversized space, and that will be building management will be coordinating with those individuals who need to utilize that area.
Thank you. Next up, we have Rachel Tennant.
I'm sorry, but my camera is not working. Is that okay? This is the first time I've asked. If I could still speak, that'd be good.
That's fine. Yes, please state your name and your address for the record.
Thank you so much. Rachel Tennant, 461 Waverly Place. I'm concerned about the roof deck, because we know how rowdy people can get, especially when they're watching football games or any kind of games. Because even my grandson, I get rowdy with his little baseball games. So what is the strength of the glass going around the top of the building? That's a concern. I'm sure it's tempered glass. If that's not correct, please let us know what type of glass that is. Also, the stackable parking. The car that is underground, what happens if that's flooded? Are there pumps under there, like a sump pump kind of thing that pumps the water out? And who would manage that? Is there someone on site that will manage that? What else the parking? Does each unit, I think I missed that part. I think you were talking about, does each unit get a parking spot? And what happens first? Does each unit have a parking spot? If not, is the rent cheaper for people who don't have an assigned parking? How does that usually work? And I think that's it. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Tennant.
Mm-hmm.
Attorney Carrillo Perez?
Sure, Mr. Chairman, can I call back our witness, Mr. Grant, to help?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yes.
Just want to confirm, Mr. Grant, that you are still under oath.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Understood. With respect to the subterranean, what I discussed in my testimony was simply that there were two options. Just in looking at the plan and looking at our floor heights, We will not utilize that subterranean option for this application. So it will be, the first floor is roughly 22 feet high from floor to floor. So the three stacks, the three levels will start at the ground level and go up, right? There will be no subterranean option so that there's no concern with flooding as you've asked. With respect to the parking, we're not asking for a parking variance. We have enough to provide at least one parking space per unit in the building, and we do meet the city's parking requirement.
And Mr. Chairman, with the roof deck concerns, I believe the question was just about the strength of the glass and whether it's tempered. We can confirm it's tempered glass. So I just wanted to answer that other question that she did raise.
Is that the strongest tempered glass you could
Ms. Tennant,
use?
Ms.
Yes.
Tennant, your time is
Okay.
up. So give them an
Alrighty.
opportunity to answer, please.
All right, let me turn this mic off.
Mr. Holmes, I can call our architect for that.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Lewis, who's
Sure.
still under oath.
Okay. Yeah. So, we do use this glass for balconies pretty often. It is definitely tempered glass. There are requirements as far as impact and strength that it meets all of them. The other thing that I do want to note is for that roof deck, we actually have that roof deck really centered on the building, and there's an area around it it's buffered with those raised planters, and then there's the whole equipment area for the air conditioners. So if they're on the roof, the people that are on the roof deck aren't going to be anywhere near the edge of the building, so they're not going to be near those glass balconies, or they're not going to be near the neighbors to cause if they're causing a ruckus, it's going to be far away from where anyone could see it or hopefully hear it.
Okay, thank you.
Next up, we have, and forgive me if I mispronounce it, Quelly Campbell.
Yeah, you did a great job. It's Quelly Campbell.
Very good.
Quelly Campbell, 55 Randolph Place. So I have two questions. One, and I don't know if it was addressed at all, but one, I see it's being built on I don't know if it's an existing or a previous automobile site. Not sure exactly what they did on this site. But are there any environmental concerns? Is there any environmental cleanup necessary pre-build? Like anybody to talk a little bit about that. And then two, has the developer did anything community related or oriented in terms of speaking to current residents in that community, on that block? Just kind of curious about that as well. Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
You still have time. That's it?
No, that's it.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Chairman, can I call back Mr. Grant to help answer those questions?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Mr. Grant?
Yes, thanks,
Grant
Mr.
knows
Perez.
he's still under oath, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. With respect to the environmental concerns, any development that's financed required to have environmental investigation done. So as part of this development, there'll definitely be a phase one. And if there's any environmental impact, there'll be subsequent phases. But there'll also be a remedial action work plan. If it's a heating oil tank or fuel oil tank, that will be remediated before construction begins. So that's part of the development process. With respect to community outreach, we've met with the TRC before, and we're having this meeting with the option for public input. So that's kind of the extent we've gone to with respect to engaging the city professionals and the community.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else from the public that would like to speak to this application? Seeing none, entertain a motion to close public portion.
Motion to close public portion.
Second.
We have a motion from, I'm sorry, was that Member Foston?
Yes.
And we have a second from Member Mobley. Was that correct?
Yep.
Yep. Okay. All right. Any questions on the motion? All in favor of closing public portion, please raise your hand or say aye.
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 Is there anyone that opposes of closing this public portion? Seeing none, public portion is now closed. I don't know how my hand got up. All right. Attorney Carrillo Perez, would you like a closing?
Please, thank you. And I will be brief. I want to wish everyone happy holidays, first of all, and thank you for your time this evening. I think what you've heard between the documents presented, the application submitted, and the testimony, it's demonstrative that the project has met the statutory criteria to grant relief for the preliminary and final site plan, as well as the variance relief for the rear yard setback and the lot coverage by building, as well as the waiver. The reasons were stated very clearly. The rear yard setback has no impact because there's nothing behind it and it is within range. And the lot coverage by building is also de minimis, less than 5%. And that was done to accommodate additional parking. There is no parking variance with this project. There were accommodations made with respect to off-street loading. And you've heard from your own professionals that indicated that our planner has met the burden of proof. Our professionals have satisfied that. That was from your planner. The conditions in the planner's report have been addressed. And I believe the testimony you've heard today, as well as what we've heard, at least from the reports, we've made every effort to ensure that this project is compliant with the redevelopment plan. And those modifications that we are requesting, those minor variances and waivers, we have met that statutory criteria for relief this evening. I know issues were raised with respect to height, parking, and massing. That is not before the board this evening. This project conforms with the redevelopment plan that's in place today. And with that, we respectfully request approval for this project, and thank you again for your time.
Thank you. I'll now entertain a motion for this application.
So moved.
We have a motion from Mayor Warren.
Second.
We have a second from Member Mobley. Are there any questions on the motion? Not a question, just a comment. I still say is just doesn't fit the area. Yes, it is permitted. They're well within the guidelines. But I like to think that you consider the residents when you come into the city of Orange Township, and I'm not so sure. I'm not confident that that is something that has been addressed here, but they do meet the requirements and so forth. So with that, any other comments? Any other questions?
I don't have a question, but I do want to, for the record, before I vote, to let everyone know for the small portion of the application that I did miss, I was provided with the transcript. And I did read the transcript of the portion.
You're fading out. I'm sorry, Vice Chair Jones.
Let me move my.
With the portion that you were present for.
Right, for the portion I wasn't present for, I was provided with the transcript for that.
Oh,
small.
okay.
I did read that portion of the transcript. I just wanted to put that on the record for
Right.
I'm able to.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none, Madam Secretary?
Member Boston,
Yes.
Member Anuké,
Absent.
Member Mobley,
Yes.
Member Latour,
Yes.
Council Vice President Montague,
Abstain.
Mayor Warren,
Yes.
Vice Chair Jones,
Yes.
Chairman Holmes,
No.
motion passes. Congratulations.
Congratulations, and thank you for coming to Orange.
No, thank you. And happy holidays, everyone.
Be safe.
Be safe.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Merry Christmas.
With that, we're going to move the agenda to case number 25-14. Rocky, forgive me if I messed it up, Enterprise LLC. That's 339-355 Henry Street. Preliminary and final site plan approval.
Mr. Chairman.
Good evening.
Madam Secretary.
Attorney Wine is here on behalf of the applicant.
Attorney Wine. There we go. Okay. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Chair and members of the board. For the record, Benjamin Wine of Prime Tubel and Maselli on behalf of the applicant, Raki Enterprises LLC. Good to see everybody as always. It's been unusually long since I was last here, so it's everybody still looks as great as they always did. So the application before you this evening is for the property located at 339-355 Henry Street. And for the record, that's block 3704, and we have 4 lots. It's lots 33, 34, 35, and 36. And we are located within Zone B of the Central Orange redevelopment plan. The application before you this evening, formally is my Christmas present to Ms. Reyes, as I know she's been asking me for years to bring you an application that is free of any variances. And I know it's taken several of those years, but I've finally been able to do that. So you're welcome, Ms. Reyes. What we are seeking here this evening is for preliminary and final major site plan approval to construct a 4-story multifamily residential building that will consist of 32 units, and you'll hear about the unit mix momentarily from our architect, as well as 39 parking spaces. So in other words, while we are required to provide 32 parking spaces, we kind of had a unique opportunity here whereby we're in a redevelopment zone, and rather than seeking to maximize the extent of what we can develop on this site, as you'll hear momentarily, we're at about half of the floor area ratio that we are permitted. We are at a story less than what we're permitted to build. We are over compliant on all coverage setback requirements. In fact, we even step the building back as we go up out of respect to the neighbors. This is an application that I think you'll hear mentioned throughout this presentation was designed and triggered by quality over quantity. So rather than take a box and put it up in and maximizing the zoning, what we've done here is created a project that is influenced by the neighborhood, and ultimately will, hopefully you'll agree, will provide the city of Orange and specifically this area with a project that they can be proud of. I do have 2 minor design waivers as part of the application. One of them is for the parking space size. We are proposing RSIS compliant 9x18 spaces, and that would be a waiver. I know your underlying zoning, or I should say site plan ordinance does reference 9x20s. So we are proposing RSIS compliant 9x18s. And then the other one, as I mentioned before, we've got an abundance of parking, more than we're required. And this was driven by the fact that we had the space within the building to put extra spaces. So figured, knowing that within Orange, parking is always at a premium and always something that concerns the board, we did fill in extra spaces, and 3 of those are in a tandem orientation, which you'll hear about momentarily, will be leased to the 2-bedroom units. So because they are in a tandem orientation, that is a waiver, as they do not individually have direct access to the drive aisle. I know it sounds a little bit technical, it really is, but that's it. Otherwise, our application, as I mentioned, it's a fully conforming application, conforms entirely to the redevelopment plan, free of any variances or any redevelopment plan deviations, and was designed in a manner that is underdeveloping a property because, again, my clients have prioritized quality over quantity. I do want to lastly indicate that my client is somebody that is very familiar to this site. He's owned this site since it's 4 lots, some longer than others, but one of the lots, as you'll see, is the medical office complex. And my client is in fact one of the practitioners within that medical office complex. So he has been a business resident of this area for a number of years and is intimately familiar with this neighborhood and how it operates. And we think that the product that we're going to be providing to this neighborhood is one that has been curated specifically by somebody who knows the area very well, and that we believe you can be proud of. So with that, I intend to call 2 witnesses this evening. I have our site civil engineer, Kirsten Osterkorn, and she will also speak in her capacity as a planner to those design waivers to the extent necessary. And then I have our project architect, Alexander Elias, who will walk the board through what we believe is a beautiful building. So, Chairman, unless you have any questions of me, I'm happy to proceed with my first witness.
You absolutely may proceed.
Thank you. So with that, I will call Kirsten, and I do see her on the screen.
Hi, Kirsten. Could you raise your right hand, please? Do you swear affirm the testimony you're about to give tonight before the board is the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Kirsten, if you can, before you get started with your testimony, if you can please give the board the benefit of your educational and professional background and the status of your licenses as a civil engineer and a professional planner in the state.
Sure. Hi, everybody. Nice to see everybody again. I have my bachelor's degree from Rutgers University. I've been licensed since 2011 in professional engineering, in 2015 for professional planning. I have been in front of this board before. I've also been in front of other boards in the county, in South Orange and Montclair, and around Essex, Morris, Union, Bergen, working with Mr. Wine on numerous projects before, but we have been here before. Everything is still in good standing.
Thank you. Chairman, I would submit Ms. Osterkorn as a professional in the fields of engineering and planning.
Good evening, Ms. Osterkorn. Good to see you again.
You too.
And yes, this board will accept Ms. Osterkorn as expert in engineering. And Ms. Osterkorn, your testimony will be limited to that as an engineer.
And Chairman, and as a planner.
Oh, I apologize. As a planner, I didn't hear anything about planner, and that's why.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I have my planner's license since 2015. I have testified before that as well. I'm just going to be able to touch upon the two waivers that Mr. Wine had talked about, just to make sure the record's clear about that. I can talk about that too.
So you'll be an expert in engineering and planning. Is that correct?
Yep.
All right, very good. This board will accept you as that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So Kirsten, I'll just ask Ms. Reyes if she can give you the ability to screen share, and if you can walk the board through the existing site conditions and ultimately what we are proposing here this evening.
Okay. Cool. That was quick. Thanks, Ms. Reyes. Everyone can see this plan, right?
Yes.
Okay, sharing the right screen. Okay, these were the plans submitted. They are a 9-sheet set dated. They're dated 8/7/2025, but they're revised through 11/1/2025. And that's the main sheet set that was submitted to the city. So the first sheet's the cover sheet. And I'm going to go to the existing conditions and the survey sheet. So as Mr. Wine explained, there are 4 lots. There's existing lot 33, 34, 35, and 36 that are developed currently with buildings and pavement and parking lots and fully developed. So speaking to the existing conditions of these 3 lots, the required lot area is 4,000. All of the lot 33 is 4,275 square feet. Lot 34 is 8,206. Lot 35 is 2,710, and lot 36 is 8,084. The purpose of our application is ultimately combining the lots into one lot. So we are eliminating a nonconformity in this area for lot 35. Not to go into existing completely of every single detail, but ultimately of the 3 lots, there are currently 7 nonconformities between the 4 lots. The lot area on lot 35 that I just mentioned, on lots 33 and 34, which are these 2 lots that I'm focusing on right now. The rear yard setback requirement is 10 feet, and they both have a 0-foot setback with the buildings that are on the lots. And the side yard setback is supposed to be 3 feet, and they have a 1-foot setback and a 2.4-foot setback for their existing conditions. Also, with impervious coverage, the requirement is 90%, and the lots right now are at lot 33, which is this lot all the way to the east is at 100% coverage. Lot 34, which is the next lot over, is at 91.6% coverage, and lot 36, which is the lot all the way to the west, is not at 98% coverage. Lot 36 also has a nonconformity for a front yard setback, where a side yard setback, I'm sorry, where 3 feet's required and has a 0 foot setback on this right side. So under existing conditions between these 4 lots, there are numerous existing nonconformities, mainly with setbacks and coverages between side yard, rear yard, and overall building and impervious coverage. As part of this plan that I'm showing you right now is the site preparation and lot consolidation plan. We're proposing to remove all structures on the properties, all pavement, all features on the property, and consolidating the 4 lots into 1 lot. Going to our proposed plan, which is my sheet 3 of my set, is where we're proposing our 4-story 32-unit building for an apartment building with parking underneath. Under proposed conditions, the lot area, when the lots get combined, they become 23,275 square feet, which is significantly over the required lot area. The lot width required is 40 feet. We are at 212. A front yard setback requirement is 0, which we are at 0. We're meeting the front yard setback requirement. The rear yard setback is 10.6. It's at this middle point of the lot where there's an angle point to the properties in the rear. And as noted before, the other properties had rear yard setback nonconformities and did not meet the requirement for a 10-foot rear yard setback, and our building is proposing the required 10-foot rear yard setback. For side yard setback, the requirement is 3 feet, and we are meeting that. Also, as noted before, the existing properties, some of them did not meet that requirement, so we're eliminating that nonconformity and complying with the 3-foot setback. I think some of the biggest things to highlight right now, just with the proposed plan, is our coverages. As noted under existing conditions, a bunch of the lots did not comply with coverage. They were over coverage. They had pavement going to the back of the properties. A lot of this area in the back was either pavement or building. And under proposed conditions, the requirement is 90% building coverage. We are at 73.1%, and for impervious coverage, you're at 90. The requirement's 90% as well, and we are at 83%. That's factoring in the patio in the back and the 2 walkways on the side. So we are we are either meeting or under on all zoning and bulk requirements for the property. With respect to the building height, I know the architect will get into this as well, but we are proposing a 4-story building. The zoning permits a 5-story building at 55 feet. We are under that as well. So we are asking for no relief under the bulk and zoning requirements. We meet the parking requirements as well. I know it was mentioned we have some design waivers I'll touch upon a little bit later with respect to the parking sizes and stalls, but we do have a 1-way entrance and circulation, which is an enhancement versus a 2-way, given the space and sizing that we do have for a 24-foot aisle and a 9x18 stall, which is a typical 2-way parking aisle, but we are proposing a 1-way parking aisle with the 9x18 parking layout. Going into my sheet 4, which is our grading and utility plan. Currently on the site, there's multiple utility connections that do exist from Henry Street. we are proposing to have a new water and sewer connection, and overhead and utility connection for the 32 units that are going to be able to utilize and work with the existing utilities in Henry Street. I know there were some comments from the engineer about the overflow for the drainage system that we're proposing that was going to a sanitary system. We had believed it to be a drainage system, but if it is sanitary, we're going to investigate further to make sure our overflow, does go to the drainage system and not the sanitary sewer system. We are ultimately staying under coverage and overall increasing coverage slightly, but we're taking the entire roof system and be able to provide a drainage system within the property. There were some minor comments from the engineer of making sure that we're able to work out the ADA access from the front door and within the site. I spoke with the architect before the meeting, and we have some little grade issues that we're going to work out, but ultimately we're going to comply to make sure that access is provided and meets the requirements. Whether I have to change some minor grades interior to make sure we meet the code for access from the exterior and the interior, I'll be able to do that and work that out in conjunction with the architect. Sorry, I didn't mention before, when I was talking about the existing conditions, overall, everything is a very flat site, and it kind of, some of it drains to the back and some of it drains to the front. We're maintaining our existing conditions. We're not enhancing to any of the neighbors and keeping an existing drainage pattern while also providing new drainage on site under the building to collect the roof and have an overflow that didn't exist previously per the existing conditions plan. My next sheet is the landscaping plan. We are proposing, I'm just going to zoom in a bit. We are proposing a bunch of trees and shrubs along the perimeter of the rear of the site to create buffering for the neighbors in the back of the site. There was comments with the engineer that I'm going to work through with him of requesting street trees along the frontage. However, on this side of Henry Street, after a site inspection per the letter that had happened, there are currently no street trees on this side of the site, and we have a bunch of utilities. There are all of the utility poles that have all the overhead wires, and between the water valves and hydrants and gas valves, it's not susceptible and wanting to have street trees on this side of the site. So when I had spoken with our project team before, if it's necessary to ask for a waiver on that element, or when I can speak with the engineer during question and comment, but planting trees along Henry Street on this side with all the overhead wires and all the utilities, I don't believe to be the most proactive approach on this. And there's no other ones on that side of the street. They're ultimately going to get caught up in the wires and get cut down the road. But we can address that and work with the engineer on those requirements. It just is, as you can see, with all the utilities and the utility poles, that street trees aren't the best in this location. There weren't any other comments from the landscaping plan. Similarly, the lighting plan from the engineer's letter, based on what we're proposing underneath, I believe we comply with anything. If there's any additional comments that he has, we're able to address. And then going to my soil erosion and sediment control plan, that's complying with the Hudson Essex Passaic soil erosion, soil conservation district that we'll be applying to for permitting. And the last two sets of my sheet are construction details. I have to add a few based on the engineer's letter. I'm going to add a detail for the roadway to have a 4-foot grass strip before a sidewalk that we're going to end up proposing, which will fit into the standard apron detail. And sheet 9 is some more details. So, Mr. Wine.
Sure. So just a couple of follow-up questions. So with respect to the parking space size, and I know I brought it up earlier,
Yeah.
being a waiver at 9 by 18, can you confirm that 9 by 18 is standard parking space size throughout residential and quite honestly commercial developments as well?
Yes, 9 by 18A is RS residential site improvement standards. The RSI standards is to have a 9 by 18 stall. In normal commercial type parking lots where you have two-way going back and forth, you still have a 9 by 18 that provides the proper backup space that you need with 24 feet in between a 9 by 18. A typical now, I mean, I know vehicles may in the back of the day used to have been larger, but with the SUVs now, I think their maximum length I've seen is 17 feet, and their width is the 6.5 for some of the expeditions. So the 9 by 18, and it gives you the proper backup space that you need with the 24 feet. And this is still also, we're now doing a one-way.
Right. So I was going to ask, so with respect to that waiver and the other one for again, like we said, providing as an amenity, quite honestly, just some additional parking spaces for some units that, you know, there may be a couple that do have two vehicles. Would you feel as an engineer that given that this is one-way circulation, especially that you're not and a over compliant drive aisle width, you're not concerned about those waivers as well?
No, I'm not. I think it's an enhancement. Normally in a 24-foot drive aisle, you would have a two-way, but us restricting it and putting it as a one-way is an enhancement and gives the ability, and everyone that gets their spots and it's assigned and knows where they're going, provides them that extra space and knows where they need to go to get in and out without a conflict.
Great. And then my last question to you is asking you to kind of wear both hats as an engineer and a planner. You've spoken a lot about the improvements and elimination of all of the site's nonconformities. So I think as you went through it, every single lot currently of the 4 has at least one nonconformity. So whether it's lot sizes, setbacks, coverages obviously being most substantial. Would it be your opinion as a professional engineer and a planner that the landscaping we're proposing, the stormwater management, and I think the biggest item here, actually proposing a conforming building and rather a building that is approximately half of the overall size it could be under the redevelopment plan, would you agree that this is a substantial benefit to the public?
Yes, I would.
And would you agree that it's a substantial enhancement overall of this site and an improvement to this site from its existing conditions?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Chairman. I have nothing further from Ms. Osterkorn at this point.
These buttons, and oh my gosh. All right. Thank you, Ms. Osterkorn. Are there any questions from Ms. Osterkorn as from any board members? As always, you've been very clear and concise, so thank you.
Oh, you got a hand, Chairman.
Member Foston.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Thank you, Mrs. for our presentation. And I think this is everything seems to be clear, except I don't see where the elevator is located in the plan.
Where what?
The elevator.
The elevator.
Member Foston, that may be better served by our architect, who is our next
Oh,
witness.
okay, I can.
Sorry.
All right. Thank you for your testimony.
You're welcome. Do I get the professionals? Are they going to ask me some stuff?
I think they'll ask at the end.
Oh, okay. All right, good. All right.
Trust and believe.
All right, you know.
Hang out.
Thank
We'll
you.
be here.
Okay.
Thank you, Kirsten. So my next and hopefully final witness this evening for you is our project architect, Alexander Elias.
Mrs. Elias, can you raise your right hand? I don't see him. Oh, Mr.
You-
Elias, I'm sorry. Do you swear from the testimony you're about to give tonight is the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Alex, if you can please give the board the benefit of your educational and professional background and the status of your license as an architect in the state of New Jersey.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Wine. I have a Bachelor of Fine Arts and Bachelor of Architecture degrees from the Rhode Island School of Design, a Master of the Arts in Architecture from UCLA,
I've been practicing professionally for just over 30 years now. I've been licensed in the state of New Jersey since 2015, and my license is in good standing.
Thank you. And have you been accepted by this or any other boards as an expert in your field?
I have been accepted by both statutory boards in the city of Newark and both statutory boards in the township of South Orange, as well as Parsippany, to provide testimony.
So, Chairman, I would submit Mr. Elias as an expert in the field of architecture.
Just one question: is the license, and is that still good?
It is in good standing and current.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Thank you, Mr. Elias. This board will accept you as an expert in architect, and your testimony will be limited to that as an architect.
Thank you, Chair.
So,
Alex, if you can please bring up your plans, and if Ms. Reyes could be so kind as to permit you to do so, and walk the board through. I know they've heard about the site and the orientation from Ms. Osterkorn. So if you can provide the board with what I'll call the pretty picture of the application. And I'll just ask, because I understand in addition to your plans, you do have an exhibit you'd like to share. So to the extent that you are going to put that up on your screen, that exhibit would need to be marked as it has, and there it is. So Mr. Hawkins, I would just ask if we could have Mr. Elias enter the rendering on your screen as Exhibit A1.
Thank you. What do you want to title this?
Yeah, Alex, what would you like? What would you call this?
We can title it Architectural Rendering.
Okay.
And it's just one page? Or is it 8 pages, I'm saying?
I'm sorry. No, this exhibit is just this image you see on the screen now.
Got it.
Thank you.
Okay. And we'll make sure to get a copy of that over to Ms. Reyes by tomorrow, hopefully. So, all right. So, Alex, go right ahead.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, I'm very happy to be here tonight on behalf of this applicant. As Mr. Wine and Ms. Osterkorn have indicated, the proposed building is a 4-story, 32-unit multifamily building with a total of 39 parking spaces. The building consists on the ground level of parking, utility spaces, tenant amenities, and 3 stories of dwelling units above. Ground floor amenities include a tenant storage room, which you see here in the upper left corner of the building, an exercise room, which is at the front of the building towards the center, an 1,136 square foot outdoor patio and garden, which you see here behind the building and is directly accessible through the parking area. And as you'll see on a subsequent plan, there's an 800 square foot indoor lounge with a serving kitchen and bathroom, which has access to a 300 square foot rooftop deck that's on the 2nd floor. This is a 2nd floor plan of the building. And you'll see here in the middle a space labeled lounge. Just to orient everyone, the elevator is right here in the middle, adjacent to the trash room. There's a central hallway running across the width of the building with an egress stair at either end. And on the 2nd floor here, there is a lounge space with direct access to a 300 square foot rooftop terrace located above the parking. Of the 32 dwelling units, 11 are 1-bedroom and 21 are 2-bedroom. The 1-bedroom units are between 812 and 892 square feet each. The 2-bedroom units are between 1,073 and 1,160 square feet, all generously sized. All 2-bedroom units offer 2 bathrooms per unit. Overall, 3 of the 1-bedrooms and 9 of the 2-bedroom units have dens, and all dwelling units provide in-unit laundry facilities. And all of the building and dwelling units will be accessible and or adaptable as required by the Uniform Construction Code. I also want to point out that the proposed building has been designed to accommodate Orange's recycling program. The building contains 2 trash chutes, and I'll zoom in a little bit here so those are more apparent. Again, here's the elevator with the trash room adjacent to it, and there are 2 trash rooms. One trash chute is designated for household waste and one for recyclable materials. The ground floor trash room provides space for sorting recyclable materials into appropriate containers, and the trash room on each residential floor is large enough to accommodate additional sorting as may be required. Each floor of the building is identical to the next, with the exception of the lounge on the 2nd floor. The 3rd and 4th floor plan is the same. We have a mix of 1 and 2 bedroom units facing the front and a mix of 1 and 2 bedroom units facing the rear of the building. With respect to the redevelopment plan, the proposed building complies with all the bulk requirements set forth, and the applicant has endeavored to present a project that exceeds the minimum setback and height requirements. The building exceeds minimum required rear yard setback along most of its perimeter. The minimum rear yard setback is 10 feet. The building observes this minimum, but the average rear yard setback at the ground floor is 19 feet 5 inches. Above the ground floor, the building steps back an additional 15 feet at the rear. For floors 2 through 4, the average rear setback is 34 feet 5 inches. And you can see here in one of the building elevations, the top elevation is the front, and the one below it is the left side. You can see here that additional step back above the ground floor. The minimum side yard setback, as was mentioned, is 3 feet. On the left-hand side of the building, the average side yard setback at the ground floor is over 4 feet. Above the ground floor, additional step backs increase the average side yard setback to 8 feet. And I'll go back up to the 2nd floor plan. This is the left-hand side of the building where you see my cursor. The building observes an average side yard setback of 4 feet, but then we have additional step backs above the ground floor that increase that average, as I mentioned, up to 8 feet. On the right-hand side of the building, the average side yard setback at the ground floor is 7 feet 11 inches. Above the ground floor, additional step backs increase the average side yard to 14 feet 6 inches. In addition to the step backs described above, the building uses step backs at the front to articulate the building mass and break it down into smaller component parts. And to illustrate that, I'll refer you to these rendered elevations, with the front being here in the top left-hand part of the page. At its front facade, the building reads as 5 sections, with the stair towers as bookends at either end. While a 5-story building is permitted here, the applicant opted to present a 4-story building with taller ceiling heights on each floor, which makes for a more pleasant living experience and increases the amount of natural light in the interior spaces. Despite the taller ceilings, the proposed building is still several feet below the maximum height permitted, and I believe we're approximately 5 feet below the maximum building height. The appearance of the building is compatible with other similar buildings in the district. The building employs 2 colors of modular brick, which is a full thickness brick, not a face brick, painted cement panel siding, and aluminum and steel accents and trim. The design inspiration for the project comes from the existing Orange Memorial Hospital buildings, as well as the design of the proposed redevelopment of that site. The proposed building does not contain blank or featureless walls. All of these characteristics and features are consistent with the guidelines and requirements of the redevelopment plan. And you'll see from these rendered elevations that there is a good mix of brick and cement panel on all sides of the building. And where we have cement panels, we're using 2 colors to articulate the window groupings and create a facade that is scaled down as much as we can accommodate to decrease the bulk of the building in its dimensions as well as its appearance. And for your reference, the actual materials and colors we're using are illustrated here at the bottom of this board. I've also had the opportunity to review the board engineer's letter, which was dated December 11th of this year. The board engineer had a few comments that relate to the architectural submission. He requested a signature block on sheet A200, which I'm happy to add. He also raised the issue of audible and visual alarms at the garage doors. We will, of course, provide ADA compliant audible and visual alarms at both garage door openings. Ms. Osterkorn and I, as she indicated, will coordinate and revise our finished floor and grade elevations to provide barrier-free access to the building. And we do not anticipate this will change the building's height characteristics at all. So I think that concludes my testimony, Mr. Wine. If you had any questions.
I do. Just a couple of follow-ups. So, so regarding the trash operations, I know this board is keen to ask, so I'm going to ask proactively. I just want to confirm that from a trash perspective, there will be building management that will coordinate with private hauler to bring out the trash accordingly on trash day. Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay. Regarding building security, which I know is another question frequently asked by the board, obviously without getting into too many details, if you can provide a little bit of testimony as to the plan for building security.
Sure. The owner intends to, or the applicant intends to install security cameras around the perimeter of the building, providing 360-degree coverage. Those cameras will be installed in compliance with any applicable municipal code and state code requirements, and that would include, if necessary, providing police access to those cameras. With respect to day-to-day use of the building, I should point out that we have a mail and package room that is accessible from the foyer of the building, so that U.S. Postal Service and delivery services will have access to the foyer, but not the building in general. In that mail and package room, there are locked mailboxes as well as a package locker. This package locker consists of, I believe, 14 different size compartments that are locked. When a tenant receives a package, they will be alerted by the package locker through an app on their phone that they have a package, and that app will provide them access to the particular locker that their package is in. This will effectively eliminate package theft. And it will also mean that packages will not be left out at the street. They will be in a secure location. So that's what I can offer you in terms of security.
And just in terms of further access to the building, it's your understanding there will be some type of fob and or high-tech software employed to control access beyond that foyer. Is that correct?
Yeah, that is correct. Access to the building itself, whether it's a parking area or the tenant lobby, will be key fob controlled or remote controlled. There is an app that manages all of those functions. I believe it's called the Butterfly app. And the applicant intends to use that to secure the building and to provide convenience for their tenants.
Thank you. And then my last question for you, and I think this really stems from where I kind of began the presentation regarding quality over quantity. Something that's a little bit unique, and I have the pleasure of presenting this application. I don't often get to say that I've got an applicant, somebody who's worked in this property and on this property as a medical professional for decades, and he's served the community in that regard, and is now coming forward with a project that emphasizes building a building that, while it might add to the cost of construction, it's really bringing about quality. So some of the things you identified, our floor area is approximately half of what we are permitted. We're permitted 3 FAR and we're only at 1.7, so just over half. We've got very generous unit sizes, I think, that you went through.
Yes.
I know this redevelopment plan doesn't call out specific unit size requirements, but I believe these are larger than any other redevelopment plan requires. That's another element of quality. The step backs that I think you illustrated really nicely to bring about additional light to the property, both in the building and to neighboring properties. The materials going with an actual brick rather than, I think, what people often try, some type of veneer. The amenities being provided, not maximizing the bulk. So my question, and I put that all out there just to ask you, as an architect and as the architect who was tasked with designing this building, would it be your opinion that the emphasis here, as I said before, was really on designing a quality product that the city of Orange Township can be excited about and proud of, knowing that the residents that live in it, as well as the people that walk by it or live nearby it, can ultimately be proud of this project rather than just seeing, another box?
Well, yeah, I would agree with your characterization of the project, and as someone who's been involved in the process with this applicant for a couple of years now, the expression "good neighbor" comes to mind. I think, given their decades of working here, I think that was their chief concern. Was presenting a project that the township could enthusiastically support, and one that would be physically a good neighbor to the buildings around it. And I think, particularly with respect to minimizing the bulk, and enhancing the setbacks to draw in the building where it gets tall away from the property lines, I think they've been, I don't want to say teachable, but they've really been a partner in developing an architecture that I think is really responsible. And I don't often get to say that. So it's been a pleasure for me to work on this with them. And like I said, I'm very happy to present this evening.
Thank you, Chairman. I have nothing further from Mr. Elias at this point.
Thank you, sir. Are there any questions for Mr. Elias from any board member? Mr. Elias, one question I have. You talked about the tenant storage room.
Yes, sir.
What is that going to be used for, and how big? Well, what is the size of that?
That room is approximately 500 square feet. The applicant has envisioned subdividing this room into kind of smaller cubicles like you would have at a storage facility, where tenants would have overflow storage. So if they have a bulky item they can't fit in their apartment, they would have the ability to place it down in the storage room. And if I can piggyback on your question a little bit, I just wanted to point out one aspect of this lounge that I mentioned. However generous these apartments are, there may be occasions where a tenant wants to have a large family gathering, a birthday party or something like that, and they have more people than they can put in their unit. This lounge offers tenants that opportunity. It has a bathroom in it and a serving kitchen. So if there's a holiday or an event that they want to have at their home, this lounge is not just a space to hang out. We also see it as kind of a force multiplier for the tenants to have access to space that apartment dwellers typically don't have. So similar to the storage use, what my client really wanted to do is provide kind of a well-rounded living experience with indoor and outdoor amenity spaces, extra storage, and everything they could reasonably do to make this building as desirable as possible.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Mr. Elias?
Chairman?
Member Mobley?
Yes. Mr. Elias, if a tenant approaches the front door and they have 2 packages, one in each hand, how would they access the building?
Well, the entrance to the building is recessed. So as you approach the front door, you'd be covered from the weather if there was any. So if both hands were full and you needed to press your fob to open the door, or if you were using a key, you could put whatever you have in your hands down without it getting rained or snowed on, open the door, and then proceed in.
And then once that person is inside the front door and they want to move to the package room, do they have to press the key fob again to enter the package room, or some type of security key?
No, for the package room is directly accessible from the foyer. You can see right here, there's just a large, it's an extension of the foyer, essentially. So again, the only people who would have access to that are people who are tenants, delivery people, or people who are specifically let into the building. So they wouldn't need to go through another door to get into the mail and package room.
But all of the everything that's in the package room, whether it's mail or a package, is separately secured, so nobody would be able to take someone else's stuff.
That is correct. That is correct. We're doing our best to eliminate porch bandits.
Gotcha. All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Elias.
Thank you,
Chairman.
You're welcome. Anything else for Mr. Elias? All right. Thank you, sir, for your testimony.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So, Chairman, that would conclude my case in chief. I would respectfully request the right to respond to any comments or questions and sum up at the conclusion.
Absolutely. So with that, I'll move to hear from the board experts. And Mr. Elias, if you can stop sharing, please.
Certainly.
And Mr. Cahy Lane, I see you. There you are.
Yeah. I'm still here.
And Mr. Attorney, yeah, there you go.
Do you swear affirm the testimony you're about to give tonight before the board is the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I, as I noted on the prior application, board members, you have my report. The applicant's professionals have done a bang up job walking through it and addressing the items I had in it. As Ms. Osterkorn had mentioned, I do have one thing I'd like for us to just get knocked out here so you guys don't have to come back, and it's regarding the street trees. From the engineering perspective, I do agree with Ms. Osterkorn that they, given all the utilities and particularly the overhead wires in the area, it could present a conflict between the trees and the wires themselves, and or I'm going to call it a debeautification of the trees, because the utility companies will just shape the tree however they want to get the necessary space away from the wires, and you end up with like kind of this weird cutout in the tree. But I do bring that up to say that these street trees are part of the redevelopment plan, specifically section 4.3 in the landscape, streetscape, and open space section, which, and unlike Ms. Osterkorn, I am only a PE. I am not also a planner, so I believe this would be a design waiver, but I don't want to get too far over my skis here and say that. So I'll apologize to Mr. Martini for calling on him quite a little bit offhand, just to confirm that if any relief is needed, that is what it would be. Just so we're all here now. Let's have this done so these folks don't have to come back.
All right.
So while Mr. Martini looks through that, I'll buy him some time. That's all else I had, unless anybody else has any questions for me.
With that, I'll ask, are there any questions for Mr. Cahy Lane from any board member? All right, anything? Because Mr. Martini's still looking.
I'll just not to testify for the applicant, but in the theme of being a good neighbor, I do appreciate the inclusion of the stormwater management system. It's not at the size of this project. It's not something that's specifically required by the city's ordinance. but it's another thing they've done, as Ms. Osterkorn noted, having a higher coverage site to help reduce, not only reducing the coverage, but reducing the direct overland flow of the stormwater that falls on the property. They're either infiltrating it into the ground or providing direct access into the city system.
Yes.
So I've got poor Mr. Martini. I've got that on page 25 of the plan.
All right. So are there any questions for Mr. Cahalan from any board member? All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Martini. Attorney Hawkins.
Mr. Hawkins, yes.
You swear, sorry, I always forget to unmute myself. Do you swear to affirm the testimony you're about to give before the board tonight's the truth?
Yes, I do. Thank you. I guess I'll start with this design waiver. So just to read out the regulation again, as Mr. Cahill said, this is page 25 of the core redevelopment plan. Street trees shall be planted along curb lines of streets at a maximum of 40 feet on center and or planted in front of each individual building lot at the curb to further enhance the aesthetic quality of the pedestrian environment in the redevelopment area. Street trees shall have a minimum caliper of 2 to 2.5 inches as measured 5 feet above the root wall. And again, what I don't recall in front of me, but what was being proposed? If I could.
Yes.
Yeah,
Do you want me to address that, Mr.
Yes,
Martini?
please.
Right. So because of the overhead wires, we looked at this and we can't in good engineering sense propose to put trees within the right of way there. As was testified, we explored some other options. I don't know if they would be what the city would be looking for, but some type of low growth shrub or something like that in the right of way. But unfortunately, proposing any tree, so to speak, as you'll see if you go up and down that entire block, there's only about 1 or 2 trees, and they've been horribly misshapen by I guess it would be PSE&G. So we didn't think that it would be a productive or aesthetically pleasing idea to put any trees there.
Okay, understood. Now I got my bearings. Thank you.
Yeah.
So I guess the way I would call this would be a design waiver. That's usually how I treat it in other redevelopment plans. It doesn't explicitly state it that waivers would be granted in this section of the plan, but I think that's what would be called for here. I do appreciate, Mr. Wine, that you would, in lieu of the street trees, plant something else that would be fitting and still kind of help the aesthetic of the streetscape, because I think that's the idea here. So I think it would be a waiver 1 and 2. I think putting some type of shrubbery or something that's has a low height would be appropriate and would help in this case.
And we're happy to work with your office to that extent as well.
That would be great. And I think everything else, not to belabor anything, but as I just mentioned, this site's in the Cora, the Central Orange redevelopment area, specifically District B. Again, that's what's been mentioned throughout this evening. For this multifamily that's proposed, it's permitted in the redevelopment plan and it's fully compliant, which means that there are no variances being requested other than the waivers that have been mentioned throughout. We had 2 conditions that are listed on the last page of our memo that was issued on December 8th of this year. And I believe both of those have been addressed. I think Mr. Elias addressed the alert system for the pedestrians that as vehicles exit the parking garage. And I believe that's pretty much it that I have for this application. It's pretty straightforward. And yeah, that's all that I have. So thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. We're gonna ask any member if you have any questions for Mr. Martini. And Member Mobley.
Yeah, not so much a question, but I just want to let Mr. Martini know that I believe at the last planning board meeting, we looked at a project that was at the corner of Scotland Road and Tremont Avenue. And the applicant recommended large planters that they would put outside the building, and then they would put shrubbery inside of those planters. And something like that might very well work there on Henry.
I think so too. I think that's a very good point, Mr. Mobley. I think if we discuss with Mr. Wine, I think that will be a good compromise here.
Yeah, and Member Mobley, we're happy to work on that with Mr. Martini's office. The only thing we obviously want to make sure is that we're not reducing sidewalk widths or anything like that, below what's required. But again, I think this is something we're happy to work with his office on making sure this looks right.
All right, good. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Welcome. Member Foster.
Yeah, Chair, it is 10:11, 10:12. I don't know whether you're gonna take a motion to continue. Or...
Madam Secretary, is that like 11 o'clock, 10:30? When is
10:30?
10:30? All right.
Okay.
Any other questions for Mr. Martini? All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Let's check with, I'll entertain a motion to open the public portion of this application.
So moved.
We have a motion from Member Tor. Is there a second?
Second.
I have a second from Member Mobley. Are there any questions on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor of opening the public portions, please say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
Is there anyone that opposes opening the public portion of this application? Seeing none, public portion is now open. If there's anyone from the public that would like to speak to this application, I ask that you state your name, your address. If you can turn your camera on, that would be great. And then state your concern or question. Rachel Tennant.
Yeah. Rachel Tennant, 461 Waverly Place. I can finally say a developer that is thinking about the residents. Just because, you could build higher, but you did not, there was thought put into this building. So I'm happy about that. But I do want to ask, the colors that you showed on the building, will that stay or will you change the colors? Because there's some very weird colors that we got stuck with here in Orange. Very ugly colors. So if you're going to maintain those colors, I like that. And can we revisit the opening of the front door? Is that if someone in a wheelchair was entering through the front door, do they have some kind of, someone mentioned a key fob that they press to open a door? Is that how that would work? And that's it. And thanks again.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Tennant.
So I think both of those questions can be answered by Mr. Elias.
Yes, thank
Mr.
you.
Elias, please remember you're still under oath.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Tennant, thank you for your questions. With respect to the building materials, those are the actual building materials we're planning to use. Those are actual brick colors that we can source from manufacturers and paint colors that are readily available. With respect to accessible access to the building, what the law requires is that accessible entrance doors have to be operable with a force under a certain amount of, they call it foot-pounds. So there's a certain amount of opening force that's required for people with disabilities. There is also a certain amount of physical clearance at that door for somebody, whether they're in a wheelchair, a crutches, a walker, or a mobility scooter, to have access to that door and to be able to negotiate opening it and getting in through it. So this entrance will comply with those legal requirements for opening force and physical access, or physical clearance, I should say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other member from the public?
I don't see any other hands, Mr. Chairman.
All right, seeing none, I entertain a motion to close public portion.
So moved.
We have a
Second.
motion from Member Latour and a second from Member Mobley. Are there any questions on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor of closing public portion, please say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Is there anyone that opposes closing the public portion of this application? Seeing none, public portion is now closed. Madam Secretary, you want to take care of this administrative stuff while we are at the 10:16 hour?
I would recommend so, Chairman, just to be on the safe side.
So, to Member Foston's concern, I'll entertain a motion to extend the stop time for this meeting.
Motion to extend the stop sign?
We have a motion from Member Mobley. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a second from Member Anuké. Are there any questions on the motion? Madam Secretary, or roll?
All in
All in
favor?
favor, say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Is there anyone that opposes extending this meeting till 11 o'clock? Seeing none, this meeting is extended. And Attorney Wine, you may proceed with your closing.
Thank you. So I'll be brief, and I mean, now that you gave me until 11 o'clock, maybe I'll take it.
Hey.
No, I'm kidding.
You're doing good today.
I'm kidding. Jokes aside, I'll be brief and take the opportunity to thank the board for the opportunity to present this application. It is one that, like I said from the get-go, is a little bit unusual in that we have an applicant and an owner who is willing to spend a little bit more to build a little bit less quantity-wise, but build a whole lot more quality-wise. And I think that that's something that often gets overlooked, whether it's presenting projects in Orange or Jersey City, or quite honestly anywhere around the state. And I think that that's something that I really appreciate about having had the opportunity to be a part of this team. As you heard, we have no variances as part of the application. We are under developing with respect to the height, the coverage, the setbacks. We've got the couple of design waivers that were identified and testified to, which I think the board and its professionals have felt are appropriate and understandable. And otherwise, I would just respectfully request that the board approve our application for preliminary and final major site plan approval with those waivers. And with that, I will close and thank the board again for its time. Chairman, you're on mute.
Thank you, sir. With that, I'll entertain a motion for this application.
To approve preliminary and final.
Vice Chair, I can hardly hear you. I'm sorry.
Let me move my phone onto the other side. Motion to approve preliminary and final site plan for case number 25-14, Racky Enterprise LLC, 39 to 355 Henry Street, with design waivers for parking stall size of 9 by 18, where 9 by 20 is required. Design waiver for the 3 tandem spaces for which there is no aisle width between parking spaces for ingress and.
Chairman, one second.
Madam Secretary, Ms. Bishop, I'm sorry, Ms. Bishop, can you hear?
No.
Okay.
No, she's fading out.
All right. Where did you leave off?
Design waiver for the tandem spaces.
Okay, I'll start that paragraph over. Design waiver for the there's no item.
She's cutting out.
Attorney
again.
Jones, I'm sorry, Vice Chair Jones, I'm sorry, I didn't gave you all kinds. Vice Chair Jones, are you there? All right, that's what I thought was happening.
One moment, Chairman.
Yes. Vice Chair Jones?
Yes. Can you hear me better with the camera off or on?
All right, you just keep fading out. I don't know if it's the reception or what, but you kept fading in and out. So try it off.
If you turn it
Try
camera
your
off,
camera
it usually
off.
helps the bandwidth.
I'm sorry, turn the
If you turn it off, it'll help the bandwidth, so your audio should come through.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Much
Yes.
better, yeah.
Okay. Going back to the paragraph about the tandem spaces. A design waiver for the 3 tandem spaces for which there is no aisle width between parking spaces for ingress and egress to and from the parking space. And a design waiver for the required street trees as dictated by the redevelopment plan. As a condition of approval, applicant will comply with the recommendations of the board professionals as detailed in the engineer's report dated December 11, 2025, and the planner's report dated December 8th, 2025. Applicant will also ensure that an audible and visual alert will be added at the egress of the garage to alert pedestrians of vehicles exiting the garage. Lastly, applicant will work with the board professionals on the appropriate use of street trees in light of the utility wires that are above the street. That's it.
So we have a motion from Vice Chair Jones. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Mayor Warren. Are there any questions on the motion? Seeing none, Madam Secretary.
Member Foston,
Yes.
Member Anuki,
Yes.
Member Mobley,
Yes.
Member Latour,
Yes.
Okay. Council Vice President Montague,
Abstain.
Mayor Warren,
Yes.
Vice Chair Jones,
Yes.
Chairman Holmes.
Yes.
Motion passes. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you, everybody. Happy holidays and
everyone.
have a great
Happy
evening.
holidays.
Thank you. Congratulations to your applicant. Tell your
Congratulations.
applicant I said thank you. And you have a good holiday.
Happy
You too.
holidays.
Take care,
Thank
everybody.
you all.
Take care.
As they quietly exit, I'm going to move the agenda and go to item number 13. It says a plan approval. Or am I looking at the wrong agenda? Oh, yep, I am. I'm looking at the wrong agenda. I'm sorry. Forgive me. All right. So with that said, all right. Yeah. Number 13, plan approval.
Mr. Chairman, that is definitely an error.
Okay, then, and that's allowed at 10:24.
Not
So with that,
approving any plans.
Yeah. We're going to move to unfinished business. Is there any unfinished business?
None on my end, Mr. Chairman.
Nothing. All right. Is there new business?
None on my end, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Member Latour?
Yeah.
Oh, I see where you go. Okay, I see you.
I'm,
All right,
I'm-
with that,
I'm ready to pull the trigger.
Yes. Let's see. No, we're gonna. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
We have a
Second.
motion from Member Latour and a second from Member Mobley. Are there any questions on the motion?
I have one. Just
Oh.
kidding.
Oh, now she's clear, ain't it? So, all in favor of adjourning at 10:25 p.m., please say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
Is there anyone that opposes adjourning this meeting at 10:25 p.m.? Seeing none, I wish you all a happy holidays, a
Happy
happy and
holidays,
safe
everyone.
New Year's. Please be safe. Please be safe. And with that, this meeting is adjourned.
Happy holidays.
holidays.
Good night.
Good night,
Happy
all.
holidays. Have a
Thank
good
you.
night,
Good night.
everyone.
All,
Good night,
thanks.
everyone. Happy holidays.